All right, we are live here another Saturday morning here at the Chronicle Telegram. Rocco Nucci, Ron Jans here with you, making his 2025 debut here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. A big thanks to the sponsors that make our show possible here this morning. Nick Abraham, Elyria Ford, of course, our friends at Stewart's TV and Appliance, and Eco Tree Services, your complete tree care company. Again, Rocco Nucci, Ron Jans here with you. We'll talk to the winning coaches from around Lorain County last night and what was some really thrilling week 6 action, some surprises, some non-surprises. Ron, I think the former there in terms of surprises, at least, when you looked at the Chronicle Telegram picket line, Olmsted Falls and Amherst, 10 of our 11 riders, I'm one of them, went with Olmsted Falls in that matchup, but you were on hand to see the Comets pull out a big-time victory in the SWC.
Well, first, who was the one picket line rider that picked Amherst?
Who was that?
10 of the 11 had picked.
I don't remember who. I don't have it in front of me. It wasn't me. I know last week I tooted my horn picking EC, but it wasn't me this week.
In prepping for the game, Amherst Olmsted Falls, talking to Tom DeLuca, the Olmsted Falls coach, he's in his 13th year, and I asked if Amherst had ever beaten Olmsted Falls, and he said in his time, and he said my first year. Tom took over at Olmsted Falls 13 seasons ago, and they had a reset year. They struggled a little bit win-wise. They didn't win many, and Amherst had won then. But since that time, he was unaware of Amherst winning. And you'll remember when Tom Thome took over the Amherst program, this is his third season as head coach. When Tom took over, Amherst had lost 21 games in a row. So they were 0 for 21. So that win last night was huge for a lot of reasons. One, it was homecoming, great crowd at Amherst. 2, brand new football field and track. Yeah. 3, more importantly than anything else, if you're a football program person, is that Comet football team took on, arguably one of the perennial powers in the area, short of Avon over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, Olmsted Falls, if you take Avon out of the mix, is in 2 state Final Fours. They can't get by the Eagles right now. So that was a huge win for Amherst, and I look forward to talking to Coach Thome here on the show this morning.
Yeah, no, me as well. I was on hand for that matchup last year, that one being played at Olmsted Falls, of course, and that was a rout pretty much from the get-go. Amherst seemed hopeless to stop, kind of that option look that Olmsted Falls gives you. So, yeah, I'm very curious to talk to Coach Thome about that here, how that one went down. I was on hand for Midview and North Ridgeville. That was a thrilling one. One of those where, and we said it on the broadcast, it's kind of cliche, but somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. And in a matchup like that, with us here at EOL, we cover everybody in the county. It's one of those unfortunate things when, again, that's why they play the game, right? Somebody wants to win, somebody has to win, and somebody's got to lose. And that was the case.
Your game went down to a final play.
Literally.
And my game went down to a final play. And how often do you get that on a Friday night, all in the same area?
Right.
And we happen to be broadcasting, both of those games. So it was fortunate for us, for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, in today's age of, you see running clocks all over the place each and every week. It was good to see a couple of games here on EOL really come down to the final play. So, Ron, we'll kind of do it on the spot here. We didn't really talk about it pre-show,
sure.
But why don't we go over the scores from last night? I'll throw some up on the screen there for our folks to see. I don't know if you can see that on the laptop or not. So I'll save the second page for you.
I'm older, Rocco, but I can see that.
All right. So, well, Jared was giving me, it was Tom last week. Tommy Evans was.
Tommy Evans is a lot older than I am, so I'm sure he struggled seeing it for sure.
Fair enough. So I'll take the first page here, and I'll let you take over when we go to the second. So Amherst, as we just said, a big winner over Olmsted Falls, 20-16. It was the final score there. Avon, it was tightly contested in the first half as we were following along social media, but Avon eventually pulls away late in that second half, 55-27. They cruise past Berea Mid-Park. Avon Lake, they blank Elyria 42-0. Aiden Stewart taking over quarterbacking duties in that one, as I read in this morning's Chronicle Telegram. So we'll talk to head coach Matt Kostelnik about that later on in this 9 o'clock hour. In the Lorain County League, Columbia stays perfect, 48-14 winners over Brookside as the Cardinals still look for win number 1 here in the 2025 season. It was a thriller at Grafton last night, but ultimately it's the Middies that fall short. North Ridgeville comes away with bragging rights this season in that rivalry, 28-24. Brian Morgan and the Rangers victorious. We'll talk to Coach Morgan about that one in about 5 minutes or so. And then back in the Lorain County League, how about the Firelands Falcons? 3 straight wins for them. They left non-conference play winless at 0-3. They've been beat up a bit this year, as all of our teams have, right? That's the nature of high school football. But how about Coach O'Rourke and his Falcons? They get a win over Clearview at 9-7. So Firelands now 3-0 in Lorain County League play.
Elyria Catholic, speaking of a program that started 0-3 to start the season and then have now won 3 in a row, it was Chase Ferris against his former teammate, Doran Grant, who's leading the St. Vincent St. Mary program and actually was Chase's defensive coordinator in his first year as head coach at Elyria Catholic. And the Panthers knock off the Fighting Irish 28-14. EC's won 3 in a row. Black River led Keystone last night 15-0 at halftime. And the Wildcats scored 22 unanswered points in the second half, and they win 22-15. The Wellington Dukes had an easy night with the Oberlin Phoenix. The Vermilion Sailors, and maybe a surprising loss to go to Norwalk, lose to the Truckers. I had done the Vermilion Sandusky game the week before, and the Sailors just rolled Sandusky, and they rushed the football at will like they do. So it's an interesting loss. We'll have to talk to Coach Bill DeFucci some point down the road next time we do their games and find out what happened there. And then the Lorain Titans travel to Brunswick, and the Blue Devils are too much, 39-18. The final in that game.
All righty. So thank you, Ron. There are the scores from last night. Again, a full lineup of coaches set for you this morning. Brian Morgan, Don Griswold, Tom Thome, Chase Ferris, Matt Kostelnik, all set to join us here in the 9 o'clock hour. In the 10 o'clock hour, it'll be Mike Elder, Ryan O'Rourke, and then Mike Rice from Columbia. We'll also talk to Chris Drew in the late 10 o'clock hour stages. He'll talk some Ohio State Buckeye football with us here this morning. They are on the West Coast this afternoon, taking on Washington. What a 3:30 kick in that one, if I'm not mistaken.
12:30 on the West Coast, 3:30 here.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then the Guardians, kind of a gotta have it game tonight, 7:15. They'll take on Texas. They got a little bit of a gift last night, courtesy of the Boston Red Sox, as the Guardians got smoked by the Rangers 7-3. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, after all this work we just done, you were talking in your phone call before we went live this morning. How Cleveland would it be for them to do all of this, get all the rah, the hype back around the organization, looking like they're going to sneak into the postseason, and for them to, hopefully they don't do it, but man, if they drop these final 4 games to miss out on the postseason again after all that's been done to get to this point, that would be heartbreaking, but nothing new here in the area.
You can't let those thoughts enter your mind if you're one of those players on the club. But certainly the fans will allow that thought to creep into their mind because unfortunately in Cleveland, just with all of our professional sports teams, we're somewhat used to. I saw ESPN promoting a Boston Red Sox special about when they won the World Series and whatever year it was. And, they came back and made all the fans whole that had, suffered for so long. And I just turned it off and I said something that can't be repeated on air. I'm like, blank Boston. I mean, come on.
Yeah, those poor suffering Bostonians, right?
Look at the Guardians, the Indians, the Browns, the Cavaliers we had with LeBron James won the 2016 NBA title, but blank Boston. Come to Cleveland and talk to us.
Yeah, I think Tom Brady gave those folks up there enough championships for 2 lifetimes,
well, they had
maybe 3.
They had a pretty good hockey team there too.
That's correct. Baseball obviously is just fine and dandy. Those Celtics have managed to win a couple of titles in their time as an organization, right? Yeah. So, those poor suffering Bostonians, man.
And back to Ohio State for a moment. Washington's won 22 games in a row at home. They're 3-0 to start the year, but they have not lost at home. They've won 22 in a row at home. So the Buckeyes have a formidable challenge today for certain.
Yeah, that's a long road trip too. I mean, it's not like you're just going, cross state to Indiana or whatever, or Illinois. No, you're going across the country.
It's a great day in college football. Ohio State, Washington, you got Penn State, Oregon, you got Georgia, Alabama. So, if you're into college football, and I am, it's going to be a wonderful Saturday for you.
Well, unless you got a wedding to attend to or something like that, but hopefully that wasn't done.
Are you getting married today?
No. It's not me. I've been there, done that. That's taken care of. I'm just saying the people that plan those fall Saturday weddings, you gotta You got to look at the docket. That's all I'm saying. All
Well,
right.
we planned my wedding 31 years ago around all sorts of sporting
Smart
events.
man.
My father-in-law was a sports writer. I was, at the time, a sports reporter. So sports took precedent, unfortunately.
Well, that's how that tends to go. So I see Brian Morgan has joined us in the queue below. So I'll tell you what, Coach, hang with us for just a second. We'll get a quick sponsor. Thank you. And when we come back, we'll be joined by North Ridgeville head football coach Brian Morgan. His guys got a 28-24 win over Midview.
I can't wait to talk to Coach
This
Morgan.
will be good. We'll be right back here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We're live on the Chronicle Telegram YouTube channel and elsewhere, Ron.
Yes, we are.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, this month you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down. Or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cavs. For several years, you've heard me talk about EcoTree Services on WEOL. Recently, I needed trees removed, so of course, I contacted EcoTree. They did an incredible job. The folks at EcoTree were timely, efficient, and the work was flawless. Take it from me. When your trees need attention or even require removal, contact EcoTree Services. Like me, you'll love their work. Find EcoTree Services online at ecotreeservices.com.
Back on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show, Roccanucci, Ron Jans here with you, and let's quickly bring him on the stage here. Brian Morgan, head coach of the North Ridgeville Rangers. His guys have bragging rights for one more season. They knock off Midview last night, 28-24. It was the final score there. Coach, I was on hand for that one, and you know, as I texted you last night, and I meant it, that is one of my favorite games that I've called on WEOL, regardless of, you know, who would have ended up winning that one. Obviously, you guys are thrilled to escape there with the victory, but man, oh man, what a ball game last night. If your guys had a chance to catch your breath, if you had a chance to catch your breath after last night, man, what a ball game.
Yeah, it was a great rivalry game. It's a great high school football game. I would have liked it to be a little cleaner on our side of the ball, but
Sure.
you know, I think everybody got their money's worth last night.
Coach Morgan, Ron Jans here. First of all, did you not shave this morning, so you're not going to, pop your video clip on? We can't see your handsome face.
Yeah, I don't look great on Saturday mornings, guys.
Stern but fair, coach. That's quite okay. That's
Now, Brian,
okay.
Brian, I love you. You're you're a partner of mine in the broadcast booth, and always so kind with your sharing of information as I prep for North Ridgeville games. But I got to tell you, you knocked off my Midview middies last night, so I'm a little salty with you this morning. That's a huge rivalry game for me, all the way back to the Lakeland Conference days of 1983 when I graduated from Midview. I don't think Coach Morgan was even born yet in 1983. Were you? You weren't born yet in 83, were you, Brian?
I was born in 1982. I was 1 year old there.
1 year old. So, yeah. But all kidding aside, Brian, that has been a huge rivalry game for a very long time, and then it kind of went away a little bit in the late 90s, early 2000s because of conference alignment and rearrangement. But did you sense it last night? Did you sense that Midview really doesn't like Ridgeville, and Ridgeville really doesn't like Midview? Your quarterback in the paper, Cole Miller, had a great quote. I thought, we really don't like those guys, and I'm sure they really don't like us. But it's all healthy, isn't it? It's a great rivalry and a wonderful football game.
Yeah, I think that, the communities are so similar. There's ties that go between both schools. I know a lot of Midview graduates that live in North Ridgeville and vice versa. It goes back to when I was a basketball coach in the DeFrancos, and, the ties that Mr. DeFranco had here at North Ridgeville, that they're just so aligned, and it's such a great rivalry, sharing a border, and it's one of the games that you love to play in and you hate to lose. So it's great to see us be successful and get that rivalry back going again.
Coach, I want to ask you about the aforementioned quarterback for you guys, Cole Miller, a really dynamite night for him. He had the 59-yard touchdown run where he's trucking defenders after I'm thinking he's just going to step out of bounds and take the yardage. I'm sure that makes you as the head coach a little nervous when your quarterback's lowering his shoulder into people, but he has that. He coughs it up twice in the fourth quarter, and then he punches it in for the game-winning touchdown for you guys. A lot of grit and mental toughness, it seems, that Miller put on display for you guys last night. What did you see from him in his efforts?
Yeah, we made eye contact after he fumbled on the second to last drive, and I told him, you better, let's get it together and let's make sure that we're ready to go win this thing, because the defense is going to get a stop, and I got 3 timeouts left. And it's exactly what he did. He made a great play with his feet on the winning drive, and we had a holding call, but and then the gutsy play at the end, getting in from the 2-yard line. Cole's a great kid, comes from a great family, and has really worked his butt off to have the season he's having his senior year. And we told our offensive line, if you can give him a pocket, if you can give him some gaps, Cole's going to be a special player. And we saw that with the addition of Dylan DeShazo and his coming out party last night.
Yeah, I got to ask you about Dylan, because, he sets up that game-winning touchdown, right? A miraculous catch, I'll call it, on 4th and 20, I believe it was. Kind of falling down, reels it in at the 2, and then Miller punches it in from there. Obviously, he had a big night prior to that, the long touchdown catch. He had 2 touchdown catches, if I'm not mistaken, last night. Equaled his season total prior to that. So, what was making him so successful last night? Like you said, kind of a coming-out party for DeShazo.
Yeah, he's a sprinter for our track team. Runs in the low 11 second 100-meter dash, and I think that last night he was could have been the fastest guy on the field. So the 2 touchdown passes you saw were a scramble drill, and he just beats his man to the corner, and Cole throws a great ball on the run on both of them. And then that last play, we talk about all the time. Sometimes those short passes are the best ones in man coverage, and Cole threw it behind him, and he just came back and made a great catch, and sort of broke the curse. That's the 3rd time I've been over there, to Grafton to play a football game, and things don't usually go our way when we're there. You have to earn it, and it's been, I think, Coach Levine, our offensive line coach, who's been here for over 50 years, said last night that it's I believe it's a 15-year drought that we got rid of for the win over at Grafton.
Well, you know what, Brian, being a Grafton guy, you're lucky you made it out of Grafton last night.
Yeah, the community didn't seem too happy to say goodbye to us last night. We got some interesting looks and had some interesting altercations on the way to the bus.
Listen, they're probably some of my cousins, but I love my hometown. No, I mean, it's they are committed to their teams for sure. Brian, you go into week 7 now. It's hard to believe that you can say that. Like, this is week 7 of the regular season. And are you at the point with your team right now that you hoped you would be going into this season? You've got some, obviously some talented seniors that have led this program for several years now. And so looking forward to this week and this week's opponent in preparation, I'm not asking you to talk about the opponent, but team-wise at North Ridgeville, are you where you want to be, do you think?
Yeah, last year I thought with how many seniors we had and how much experience we had, I thought that we had, we were kind of the team we were going to be week 1, that we would be week 12. And, with some inexperienced guys on offense and some new guys on defense, that gives us a pretty higher ceiling. And, our offensive line took a big step in the right direction last night, had a good performance. And like I said, that's going to be the group that gets us going offensively. But, these next 4 weeks are going to be a battle. If you see the scores in the SWC, we're all kind of even. Avon's the tier on top, but everybody else is fighting for that number 2 spot, number 3 spot right now. And, it's just going to be a battle every single week. And we got to continue to get better to make sure that we are the winning team in those next 4 weeks.
Well, Brian, we always talk about it or joke about it, right? The gauntlet of the SWC, but it is no joke, as you just said. I mean, Avon, you said it, they're kind of at that top tier, right? But everybody else is kind of dogpiling up right behind them, fighting for that second and third spot within the SWC.
Hey, wait a second. The Shoremen of Avon Lake are still undefeated in the Southwestern Conference. So let's not put the cart before the horse.
No,
here.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
Anything can happen in that game.
Sure can. So very good. Well, Coach, we'll let you go, but a very entertaining ball game last night. Like I said, one of my favorites that I've called on WEOL, physical ball game. Like you said, I'm sure there's some things that you'd like to see cleaned up for your guys, but all in all, I'm sure you guys are thrilled to just get out of there with that victory. So thank you very much for the time this morning. Always appreciate it, and we'll be talking some more down the line.
All right. And Brian, we hope you find a razor this morning.
Yeah, I got to find a lot of stuff this morning, but thanks, I appreciate it.
Take care, Coach. This is Brian Morgan, head coach of the North Ridgeville Rangers, kind enough to spend some time with us here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. All right, we'll keep things moving here because I see him waiting patiently at the bottom there. Coach Don Griswold from Keystone. We'll get a quick 30-second timeout when we come back. Grizz will join us here. His guys got a 22-15 win over Black River last night on our Stream 3 Medina County matchup.
Grizz has never met a razor that he actually liked.
Well, there you go. We'll be right back after this timeout.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cavs. For several years, you've heard me talk about EcoTree Services on WEOL. Recently, I needed trees removed, so of course, I contacted EcoTree. They did an incredible job. The folks at EcoTree were timely, efficient, and the work was flawless. Take it from me. When your trees need attention or even require removal, contact EcoTree Services. Like me, you'll love their work. Find EcoTree Services online at ecotreeservices.com.
All right, back here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Again, a big thanks to all of our sponsors that make this possible. Nick Abraham, Elyria Ford, Stewart's TV and Appliance, and EcoTree Services. As we'll bring them onto the stage here, the Grizz, Don Griswold, joins us. His guys scored 22 unanswered last night to get a win over Black River, 22-15, the final score there. Coach, as always, we appreciate the time this morning. How we doing?
Gentlemen, good morning. How are you? Why did Coach Morgan have his camera off?
Because he hadn't shaved yet this morning, and he said he wasn't presentable.
Did he say that, or did Mrs. Morgan say that?
Well, there's the golden question, my friend. There is the golden question. Coach, so let's talk about this one for you guys last night, right? It was our Stream 3 Medina County matchup. You guys down 15-0 early, and you score 22 unanswered to come back and win. Obviously, there's some mental toughness that goes into that, some physical toughness. What enabled your guys to come back and pull out that comeback victory?
Yeah, they out executed us in the first half. It's a well-coached team. Coach Clark and his guys do a great job down there. And we just got off to just another slow start. Just not ready with our focus. Playing hard, not trying to mess up, but we just didn't execute. And the halftime speech was anything, big or complicated. It was like, hey, they outcompeted and outperformed us in the first half. Just put together half of football, boys, right? And things will go in our favor. And thank goodness they did. So yeah, great team win. Took all three phases, 4 takeaways on defense, a couple fourth down stops, some big plays on fourth down that went our way. So just proud of the resiliency and the grit of this team. They showed their love and the blue-collar toughness last night. So, yeah, nice big win as we figure out who we are as we head into the last 4 weeks of the regular season.
Well, Grizz, that leads me into a question I wanted to ask you. Has this been a year of growing up for your football team?
Yeah, for sure. We just didn't quite realize in our summer preparations that we'd have a lot of youth on the field at one time, and it's been a blessing. Be able to have our best player out the previous 2 weeks and have other guys cycling in, sophomores and freshmen, and we're playing sophomores all over the lineup at the O-line spots. Freshman is in our running back rotation. So whenever you can have enough high-end athletes, upperclassmen with great leadership, and then cycle that many sophomores through, it's been fun to watch them grow this year.
You alluded to it already, Coach Wyatt McKee. He missed a couple of weeks for you guys with an injury. He comes back last night. He was big time in his efforts to help you guys pull out that victory. What did you see from that young man in his return to action last night?
Well, Wyatt is loves contact. He is a heat-seeking, violent missile. He does not avoid contact. Just gives us another spark. He's so explosive, whether he's playing offense or defense. And he played both for us, punted for us last night. So he wore a lot of different hats. I was glad to have him back. He loves football. He loves his teammates and loves the violent aspect of the game. And it shows. And I'm glad he wears purple.
Grizz, to go down to Sullivan, the game was.
No, that was in LaGrange.
Oh, it was in LaGrange.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but even so, let's talk about the Lorain County Conference. You go to Keystone. That's not a friendly environment to play in. If you happen to be in Black River, same thing. If you go over to Wellington, these are small communities who really love their football program and really love their Friday nights. And I was joking partially with Coach Morgan before about him going to Grafton. They hadn't won there in 15 years.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Good for them.
And so, how important is it when you're at home to take advantage of being at home in that conference and win those games?
Yeah, for sure. We've got a track renovation going on, and it's gone on a little longer than any of us would have liked to. So we haven't been home a whole lot. We were all preseason. We were on the road. Week 2 against Cloverleaf was supposed to be home. We played at their place. So it's our second game at home so far. It was great. It was homecoming week. Students were great. The band was great. Just a great atmosphere. Football in small town Ohio is special. Right. It's awesome. Friday, we want to beat the heck out of each other. Saturday, we consume beverages and cheer on the Buckeyes. Sundays, we take our kids to church and watch the Browns. So it's a great life.
Boy, you just summarized Northeast and Northern Ohio to a T right there, my friend. Well done. Well done. Coach, just with your team in general, kind of similar question that Ron asked Coach Morgan. I'll ask you here. You leave non-conference play 1-2. Now you've stacked 3 victories in a row. Is this team starting to kind of figure itself out? Are they starting to get that identity about them? Like you said, with so many young guys getting rotated in, I'm sure that's been a bit of a process, but it seems like maybe now they're starting to figure things out, and a comeback victory last night, I'm sure, goes a long way to adding to that.
Yeah, for sure. We were talking about that this morning. Years where we've won 8, 9, 10 games, right? In that number, you forget about just this gritty nights like last night. You don't always play your best. You don't always play your cleanest. You're playing against an opponent and a coaching staff that knows you, knows your tendencies and all those sort of things. And I do like where we are. Last 2 weeks, we've turned a couple of corners, showing grit, showing some ability to play from behind, which is great. It's not easy to do. And then once we went ahead, I knew we'd be able to seal it out, just because that's just who our guys are. They love to compete. They want to be great. It's just a process, right? It's not coach speak. It takes time. And we've been trying to turn some of our show dogs into hunting dogs, as Coach Saban would say. So, and they're figuring it out, and it's really fun to watch them grow and prosper, kill it in the classroom, be great teammates and classmates during the school day, but come practice and come Friday night, be able to turn that switch, so to speak, and not be so nice and be violent and put your hands on another human being and move him where you want him to go. So yeah, I love it. I love building teams, and I love watching this team come together.
Grizz, we talked about McKee and your offense scoring 22 unanswered, but your defense pitched a shutout in the second half. You're down 15-0 at halftime, and they do not allow another point. Who defensively played well last night, and how did that happen?
Yeah, wow, there's a lot of guys. I mean, we cycle in our 3D linemen to keep them fresh. Some of those guys play on both sides of the ball. You got Big John Falte. He's a big, lean body, long arms. He had a great game for us. Shane Oll had a great game for us. Dimitri Ruby, who's about 5'6", 135 pounds, plays outside backer for us. Wrestler type kid, just gritty, had 2 picks. Caleb Scott had a pick. Mason Graham's had a pick. So just really great team defense, understanding what our gap responsibilities are, making sure no one gets behind us. So yeah, I love the way we're really starting to understand how to play team defense, run to the ball, be violent, and be in a bad mood when you get there. Just again, it's a lot of fun to watch firsthand, and then be able to have a game like last night and a half. Yeah, it's very validating. Just not just for me, but for our young men and their families.
Urban Meyer made the phrase "play with like your hair's on fire." Famous, I think, when he was at Ohio State. Arrive in a bad mood is going to be Coach Grizz's mantra, I think. And be in a bad mood when you get there as a defender. You should get T-shirts made like that, Grizz. Be in a bad mood when you get there.
Well, we know some T-shirt guys. We love our T-shirts down here. Yeah, and Ryan, I think I might do that.
Yeah.
There you go.
I want one if you do one. Be in a bad mood when you get there. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Well, Coach, we always appreciate the time as always here on a Saturday morning. Congratulations on the victory last night, and best of luck to you guys this week as you get set to go to Wellington to take on the Dukes, and I'm sure we'll be talking again here soon.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you for your time this morning. Love talking to you guys. Keep doing what you do for student athletes in Lorain County. We appreciate it. God bless, guys. Have a great week.
Thanks, Grizz.
You as well, Grizz. That's Don Griswold, head coach of the Keystone Wildcats. He's always I love talking to Grizz, man. He's got quotes for us. He's got the right energy here for a Saturday morning, as you can tell. It's just the ultimate football guy with some of the cliches, right? And you can see why those kids over there at Keystone love playing for him, man. That's a character right there, Don Griswold, but a heck of a football coach, I think, as well.
He's colorful. Can you imagine hanging out with Grizz? Yeah.
Maybe. Well, I hang out with you. You're pretty colorful.
I'm a storyteller, so I think I could.
Yeah. You, an eloquent one at that, my friend. An eloquent one at that. So let's step aside, take another quick timeout. When we return, hopefully we'll be joined by Amherst head football coach Tom Thome, as they had one of the wins of the night. I think, Ron, one that you were on hand to see, 20-16. The Comets victorious over Olmsted Falls and the Bulldogs. So we'll take this time out. We'll talk Amherst and Olmsted Falls when we come back. It's the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We're live here this morning from the Chronicle Telegram on the CT YouTube channel, also online over at WEOL.com.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down, or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, Cavs radio voice. Recently, we had some trees removed. So again, singing the praises of EcoTree Services. In a few hours, EcoTree had removed the unsightly trees, cleaned the debris, and opened the area for a new fence. I can't say enough good things about the people at EcoTree. I've used them several times, always thrilled with their work. If you have trees that require pruning or need to be removed, contact EcoTree, a local business that deserves your business. They've earned mine. Go to ecotreeservices.com.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Well, back here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show, Rocco Nucci, Ron Yance here with you as we await Tom Thome, head coach of the Amherst Comets. His guys got a 20-16 victory last night over the Bulldogs of Olmsted Falls. And as we wait for Coach Thome, Ron, I'm sure you got all kinds of questions for him, so I don't want to steal any of that thunder here, but just kind of curious your thoughts. You were on hand with that one along with Tom Evans. You got to see that new facelifted facility over there in Comet Land. So what did you kind of see in last night's ball game?
Well, first of all, the atmosphere, and we've talked to two coaches so far, Coach Morgan from North Ridgeville and Coach Grizz from Keystone, and both of them talked about atmospheres at their respective games last night. I arrived in Amherst about 20 after 5. Game isn't till 7 o'clock, so I'm a full, almost more than 90 minutes before the game. It was homecoming last night in Amherst, so Cleveland Street's blocked off with, police barricades there by Hot Dog Heaven because there's a homecoming parade. You've got to go, if you're familiar with Amherst, you got to go through St. Joseph Church parking lot, wind your way through the neighborhood, come in the backside. And I still had to park several blocks from the football stadium
Wow.
because of the crowd that was already there, not yet in the stadium, but around the school.
Sure.
The floats coming in, the marching band, the cheerleaders, everything. So just walking up last night, you had this sense of a great Americana high school atmosphere. And then you throw in the fact that, Amherst has really taken huge steps forward in the 3 years of Tom Thome as the leader of that football program. And here comes, Tom DeLuca and Olmsted Falls Bulldogs. If you could make an argument that, short of the Avon Eagles the last couple of years, maybe the last, 10 years, it's been those Bulldogs of Olmsted Falls that have been very good. So that was a game that the Amherst faithful were jacked up for. They thought they had an opportunity, if they could do the right things, to knock off a giant in the Southwestern Conference, one of a handful of giants. And, let's be honest, Amherst hadn't been that for a very long time.
Sure.
They at one point had lost 21 games in a row not that long ago.
Yeah.
So it was a huge buildup for what turned out to be a sensational football game that literally went down to the final play. Olmsted Falls got the ball. They had 76 yards to go. They had less than 2 minutes to do it. They needed to score a touchdown, and they did not have a timeout.
Oh.
They were without timeouts. They had to go 76 yards to put themselves in a position to score what would be a game-winning touchdown with no timeouts, with a triple option offense. So, it's not like they could just throw the ball down the field because that's what they're used to doing. They run the football, but they did throw it to move down the field, mixed in a couple of runs with some of their talented running backs, Owen Singleton, and then their talented wingback Conley, who they would put in motion a lot. And it went literally down to the last play, stopped at the 1.5 yard line. Olmsted Falls was stopped by that Amherst Comet defense that played great all night long, and the Comets come away with a win.
What did you see defensively from Amherst in that game, Ron? Again, as we await Tom Thome here, hopefully we'll be able to talk to him on the wrap-up show here this morning. But, this is a game that I told you about it. I saw it last year over at Olmsted Falls, if I could talk, and Amherst just didn't really have any answers defensively last season for what Olmsted Falls had offensively. And again, you just look at the final score, 20-16. You hold them to 16 points. I think they gave up 30 plus, maybe even 40 plus in last year's matchup. Just kind of a total 180 for them on the defensive side of the ball. It seems like they were pretty stout there last night.
Well, even a week before, the Comet defense gave up 31 points against Avon Lake.
Yeah.
And they gave up 20 points against Berea Mid Park the week before that. And in preparing for the game on Friday night, in my prep work during the week, talking to coaches and looking at, past games and stuff, Coach Thome said, listen, he said, the way Olmsted Falls does stuff with their triple option, and they've been doing it every year since Tom DeLuca has been the head football coach there, his 13th year. He said, they expect you defensively to make mistakes. He says, and then they capitalize on those mistakes. So if you had to ask me, what did Amherst do well defensively last night? They didn't make mistakes. I mean, when you play a triple option offense, you need to stay in your lane.
It's discipline. Yeah.
It's discipline. You've got a job to do, Rocco. You need to do that job, not chase the play, stay where you're at. I need to do that same thing defensively. And they really did a nice job. Yes. Owen Singleton, their talented fullback, had carries where he would, a lot of times on first down, they get 8 yards. It'd be 2nd and 2. I mean, you play all night long on 2nd and short, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But then when Amherst needed to make stops, they did. It was a 3-0 game, Olmsted Falls, and it was a 7-3 game, Amherst, and it was a 10-7 game, Olmsted Falls. Then it was a 14-10 game, and it just kept bouncing back and forth. And that Amherst defense, they were the key last night.
Yeah.
I mean, Cy Christensen played well. Passarello played well. Dudziak played well. The typical names at Amherst this football season. Cale Charles had a touchdown pass, 59 yards that he caught and ran. Olmsted Falls defender fell down on the near sideline. Charles pretty much danced in from 25 yards out after catching about a 4-yard pass from Cy Christensen, but it was a great football game. I enjoyed it so much. It was a pleasure to call Tom Evans and I in the booth last night at Amherst.
And just from a, behind the scenes perspective, that was self-engineered last night, my friend. You came in to learn some of this streaming equipment that we got, and you handled it like a champion, my friend.
For everybody out there that thinks I am not technologically sound, let me just tell you, I rocked it last night.
There you go. There you go.
Not only did I self-engineer that game, but I also played all the commercial spots on time.
Wow.
Yes.
Look at you. That's hey, all hail
So a
King
coffee
Jans
for
over
me
here.
this
That's-
morning.
Wow. Well done, my friend.
Yeah.
Well done.
My wife was very proud of me.
Well, I had the utmost confidence
Yeah.
in you as you left the CT
You
earlier
know what?
this week.
I heard that you and Jared didn't. I heard that you guys had Vegas odds and they were high that Jans would actually get that game on the air last
Who's
night.
feeding you this nonsense? Is that Evans? Is that Evans running his mouth behind the scenes over there? My God, it probably was. Well, I'm not sure if we'll be joined by head coach Tom Thome here this morning, but that's A-okay. I know he's joined us in the past, so I know coaches get caught up doing some different things. I know it was Mike Elder last week. I know he got caught in some JV duties, but he texted me. He set the alarm for this morning, so Coach Elder will be joining us later on in the 10 o'clock hour. But maybe I'll get a text from Coach Thome at some point here, and he can join us later in the 10 o'clock hour, because coming up at 9:40, hope to be joined by Elyria Catholic head football coach Chase Ferris. And you hit it already this morning, Ron. They start 0-3 in the non-conference, and now you look up and they've put 3 together in a row. I mean, things are really starting to come together for head coach Chase Ferris and those EC Panthers. So I'm very, very excited to talk to him about it. Curious how that one went down against his former teammate and defensive coordinator, Duran Grant, now the head coach at St. Vincent St. Mary. They've lost 15 straight, St. V, which is crazy to me. You know, I graduate high school in 2014 from down in the Akron area, Cuyahoga Falls area, and, you know, they were a powerhouse. They were sending guys to Ohio State left and right, Paris Campbell, Dante Booker, the likes of those guys.
Durant.
Yeah, Durant obviously being one of them.
Yep.
And so for that program to kind of be where it's at, it's interesting to me. It's very interesting. So there he is. He's in the car waiting for us. So I'll tell you what, Coach Ferris, if you can give us about a minute here, we're going to get a quick sponsor timeout. When we come back, we'll talk some EC football with their head coach, Chase Ferris. He's coming up next right here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We'll be back.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down. Or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Back here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show, Rocco Nucci, Ron Jans here with you this morning as we'll go to 11 o'clock. Big thanks to our sponsors, Nick Abraham, Elyria Ford, Stewart's TV and Appliance, and Eco Tree Services. And let's bring him onto the stage here. Chase Ferris, the head man over at Elyria Catholic. Coach, your guys have won 3 in a row now.
Look at that big smile Chase has got this morning.
Well, for all the right reasons, right?
Yeah.
3 in a row. That certainly brings the vibes and the energy up with any program. But I'm sure you and your guys, you got to be feeling great this morning. Again, 3 in a row now for your EC Panthers. Things have been rolling for you guys as of late, huh?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, these guys have consistently found a way to win. They went out there, and left it all on the field. I tell them every day, I said, doubt doesn't live here. Fear doesn't live here. Regret doesn't live here. So all we can do is go out there, give it 110% each and every play, because we never know when it's going to be our last, and that's what they've been doing. So.
And as I read the recap this morning, Coach, kind of a back and forth affair. I know St. Vincent St. Mary made a couple of quick hitting plays to get on the board in that one, and certainly a close ball game, right? Just a 2-possession game when you look at that final score. But your guys ultimately make enough plays to win, and certainly a lot of emotion in that one, as you talked to us last week about it. Your former teammate and defensive coordinator, Duran Grant, the head coach over there at St. Vincent St. Mary. You got some guys on your team that played for Coach Grant, so I'm sure they were fired up to get that win, and they did just that. Talk to me about kind of, handling those types of emotions throughout the week and then making sure you have that all in check on a Friday night.
Yeah, for sure. But it all falls under the same thing. We say let's take everything one day at a time. You know what I mean? Like every day I tell the guys the same thing. I say we're not worried about yesterday. We're not worried about tomorrow. For the moment that we have right now, let's cherish this and give it all we got. So
Chase, I think one of the beauties of our new approach, this Saturday morning wrap-up show, where we've got people on video, this is a YouTube broadcast. you can actually see what's happening with a coach on Saturday morning. So, Chase, are you in your car right now on your way to like a JV game? Hopefully, you're not driving and talking to us.
No, I'm not driving right now. I'm just sitting.
Yeah.
I'm sitting at the gas station.
So set us up. Where you at? Where you off to?
I'm actually going to the softball game, the Elyria Lorraine Oberlin softball game out in Oberlin right now. I'm going to stop over there for a bit, and then I'll hop over to the JV game over in Ridgeville.
Are you a designated hitter on the softball team? I mean, do you get up and smack one over the fence, or what is your role?
I'm DH for sure, but at the same time, I'm probably one of the better catchers. You know what I mean? So hey, I not toot my horn, and I'm a decent pitcher as well. Got the mask just in case. Just stay ready. You don't have to get ready.
Chase,
there you go.
If you get down in the catcher's position, you get in that squat, are you able to get back up right now at your advanced age? Is everything still working?
I'm an athlete. We've lost over 60 pounds this off season. We're moving around.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it now.
Chase, let's talk about your defense. Back to football for a second. You shut out Vermilion, and we all know what kind of running game they have, and that kind of started the trend for you. I had done the Elyria Catholic Midview game. And, you and I are, that wasn't a good game for you guys against Midview. And then you win 3 in a row and you shut out Vermilion. You have a great defensive effort last night. What's changed?
I think guys are taking ownership. You know what I mean? For us, up front, we've been fairly solid, for the majority of the season. Even with that Midview game, outside of, that one play at the end of the half, the running attack kind of, our line stepped up for that game. But as we continue to grow and progress, getting guys to build their confidence. We're starting two sophomores right now on defense at, premium positions. With 21 Joels Martin and 17 Jazir Terry, both stepping into the fold. We're trying to get those guys up to speed and get them to understand the full concept. It's a little bit different. It's a learning curve with that. But then you got guys that you lose, like Don Shumper has been out for the last 3 weeks. Who's been a starter on both sides. So, trying to get guys to understand that, hey, it's the next man up mentality, and everybody has to be ready. But I think these guys are starting to take ownership and really, starting to have the energy, that they need on defense.
Chase, besides you and your coaching staff who have had to, balance the delicate balance of starting out 0-3 and maybe some, questions, come in or self-doubt with, the outside the locker room. Besides you and the coaching staff that have, kept things positive with the team and just let's focus on what we can control. Who on that team, leadership-wise on your football team, what type of players have really, been responsible maybe for keeping the ship steady, for never getting too high, never getting too low, staying even, young men do you have that are able to do that within that locker room?
I mean, for us, it's an honor to have 6 captains. We voted captains, and the votes were so high that we had to have all 6 of them. So we got 5 seniors and 1 junior. You got Trent Merrill, who's been a steady pillar, on this Panther team since he was a sophomore starting out there 2 years ago. You got Connor Lattee, who's put on over 30 pounds, of muscle. Is 6'3", 200 pounds right now. As a wide receiver, tight end, he plays safety, plays DN, wherever you need to throw him, pretty much. He's going to go there and give you everything he got. You got Joey Shield, who's the guy in the middle. Trying to make sure everything is together. You got Zion Castillo, who's in the backfield. Now he's starting wheel linebacker for us. You know what I mean? And then you still got Amari Lynn, 77. And then you have Don Shumpert, who hasn't played the last 3 weeks, but he's always around helping guys, trying to make sure everybody understands what they need to get done. And I would think one of the things is, to speak to, Zion's, vocalness. He had gotten injured July 7th or 9th at a 7-on-7. He didn't play until week 1.
Wow.
He was still voted a captain.
Well, it says a lot about that young man right there, doesn't it? I mean, goodness.
So this senior leadership, has been, one of the best groups of guys who really, have truly embodied what it means to be an EC Panther. The family, the tradition. And so it's, it's a great group of kids.
I got to ask you about Zion. I know we've talked about him the last 2 weeks for obvious reasons, right? I mean, he's put up some big numbers in that box score, but him, that offensive line, just that whole rushing attack for you guys, it's gotten just so much better as the season's gone on. What all's gone into making that rushing attack so successful, just in terms of, again, Zion, and then what that offensive line is able to do?
I just think ownership and understanding. When we talk through plays in practice, I sit back there and I just watch. I watch. I watch offensive line, feet and hands. I'm watching running back. We're seeing where the stripe on his helmet is. Is it in the A gap? Is it in the right gap? Is it the B gap? Whatever it is. And I'm watching cuts. So now getting to understand that, hey, when this happens, we press it here. And, the guys and the linemen will know, okay, the linebacker's going to play overside and blah, 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 this, that, and the third. But getting to understand the full picture. Right now we're starting to take the blinders off. When your kids are young and you're trying to teach them the offense, you don't teach them concepts, you teach them what their position is.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're no longer saying, hey, the right tackle has this. We're saying the entire line has this. So now my center can play right guard, can play left tackle. My left tackle can play right guard. He can play, whatever. We have to have interchangeable linemen. So that way, no matter what happens, we can just throw somebody in there and there shouldn't be a drop-off. So taking the blinders off, understanding concepts, and realizing where you fit in the grand scheme of things.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, Coach, it's been incredible to watch this win streak for you guys. You've really put some things together these last couple of weeks, no doubt about it. And we go back to that Vermilion game, and I think we had asked you about it. Could this kind of be a springboard to really, kind of kickstart the season upwards for you guys? And I think you had said, we got to see. We got to see what we do with it. And you guys have pieced together some more wins after that. So congratulations on the win again last night, Coach. Thank you as always for the time. And I'm sure we'll be talking again here on another Saturday morning soon.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
Chase, be careful with that softball game.
All right, listen, I'm going to hit one for you.
All right.
Take care, Coach. Appreciate the time. That's Chase Ferris, head coach of the Elyria Catholic Panthers, kind enough to share some time with us this morning. Don't doubt the athleticism of Chase Ferris. You've seen him walking around a football field.
You gotta keep him humble.
I guess that's.
He's a Super Bowl champion, national champion. Every now and then, you just got to give him a shot.
Well, if you want to be the one to try to humble the Super Bowl and national champ, I'll let you take the reins on that.
Matt Kostelnik's neck from Matt actually looks like he's driving right now as he's about to talk to us. So
he's got eyes on the road.
Thank God he's not teaching driver's education at Avon Lake High School. That's all I got to say.
That's okay. Why don't we just we'll bring him right in. We'll bring him right in. There he is, Matt Kostelnik, head coach.
Are you in the homecoming parade right now, Matt? Are you driving the float?
No, I'm trying to run out to North Olmsted to see my son has a game at North Olmsted Rex. Coach Marsala is taking the kids on the float today.
Yeah, it's homecoming weekend in Avon Lake.
Okay, all right.
The parade actually goes right by my house. I'm usually sitting in my driveway with a hot cup of coffee as Coach Kostelnik goes by, and I wave at him and the rest of the shoremen. So neither one of us are there this morning.
Well, we know Coach is always here, there, everywhere, chasing the kids around on a Saturday morning. So we know that's just par for the course there for Coach. But Coach, you guys a winner last night over Elyria, 42-0. Take care of business against the Pioneers. Aiden Stewart takes over quarterback duties for you guys in that one. Dawson Tenbrink resting up, trying to recover from some nagging injuries, as you told the Chronicle Telegram. Our folks can read about it in this morning's CT. But, you tried Aiden out there at quarterback. He has a pretty successful night in that regard. What did you see from that young man in kind of a new role for him?
Honestly, you just throw him out there and have some fun. He plays scout team quarterback for us every week, and he does a great job. Like I said, he has a lot of fun doing it. So we just had to tweak a couple things in our offense to utilize what his strengths are, because you guys have heard me talk about it before, players formation plays, and we got to center our offense on our kids' ability to make plays and what's going to be best for them. So it's just a little tweaking in our offense, added a couple things, took a couple things out that we know that he doesn't like to do. And then from there, it was just letting him go have fun. And he had a pretty good night. And we were super pumped that he was able to go out there and get us a win.
Matt, an observation and then a question. Have you ever watched College Game Day on Saturday mornings, or have you always been busy with JV games?
Every now and again I'll catch it, mostly when our season is done.
Yeah, so the trendy thing on College Game Day is to interview coaches live as they're walking on the field, as their teams, prepping or warming up. And, you've got Ryan Day with a headset on and he's walking around Ohio Stadium. This is very much like that, except you're in your car driving as we're talking to you. So it's kind of cool. You're looking around, making sure you stop at the stop sign and, turn your directional on. It's very much reminiscent of College Game Day for me. So that's the observation.
And I drive a stick, so that's why you keep seeing the phone go like this.
You do? Oh my gosh! Wow, that's even more props to you then, good sir, on that front. Oh my gosh!
So Matt, when you look at, and I really want you to talk about the resiliency of your football team. You start out 0-3, and in Avon Lake, I've lived there for 25 years. You grew up there, played there, now coach there. That's something that people aren't used to. But if you look at the schedule that you guys played, and this was going into last night, Strongsville was 4-1 going into last night. Highland was 5-0 going into last night. Lake Catholic was 4-1. So the three teams that you lost to in that non-conference schedule going into last night were a combined 13-2 on the season. So you had a blitz of a schedule to start the year, and now you've won 3 straight games in what is arguably one of the toughest conferences in Northeastern Ohio, the Southwestern Conference. So I set all that up to ask you the resiliency of your team, Matt. How did they stay together during that 0-3 start, block out the outside noise, and how has it paid off now moving forward?
Well, I mean, one thing was just to keep in perspective what we were facing. I mean, I think right now Drew Pasture has us as like the 5th ranked toughest schedule in Division II. So I just kept reminding the kids, like, hey, here are the things that we have done well. And you guys probably heard me talk about how in those first 3 games, I mean, we basically played a whole season as far as, how many times we had to run our 2-minute offense. We went for 2 to kind of finish the game, and almost like an overtime type setting. We had to, play really good defense against Medina Highland to even give us a shot in the second half. We shut them out, and it's not like they called the dogs off. We had the ball 4 times inside the red zone and came away with no points in the second half. Had we converted those to touchdowns, it's a ball game. It at least gives us an opportunity rather than turning the ball over. So there's a lot of lessons to learn out of those first 3 weeks. And again, going back to perspective, all of our goals were still on the table. I mean, we still have a chance to win SWC. We still have a chance to get in the playoffs and make a run. And we still had a shot at South. So, it kept the kids hungry. It kept them rolling. And we know, again, with having a young quarterback at the helm, who I think is going. And once he just cleans up a couple mistakes here and there, he is going to be phenomenal. And we have to get ready for this gauntlet that's coming up over the last 4 weeks. And I think our kids are there. I think they're excited. I think they're playing with confidence. And now we got to take those wins. We got to tackle one-on-one. We have to take our easy wins when they're presented to us. We got to score when we get in the red zone. I mean, last night, I feel like I'm a broken record. We left 14 points on the table. And that just can't happen these last 4 weeks.
I'll be on your game on Friday night. And I know I don't need to tell you, Olmsted Falls has lost 2 in a row. So you'll go into Falls and they'll be angry. Matt, I know that we like to talk about Avon Lake against that, team south of 90, but that Olmsted Falls game over the years has been a real battle too, hasn't it? Avon Lake, Olmsted Falls.
So I think we've had, other than 2 years since I've been head coach, I think all of our games have been within, a score or 2. So, yeah, and to be honest with you, and not to focus on the wrong thing, but I haven't won at Olmsted Falls as a head coach. So it's the only stadium in the conference I haven't won at. So I've had a lot of close games, and I'm tired of it. And I want us to go out there and show what we can do.
Very good. Very good. Well, we're certainly looking forward to that one, Coach. That'll be our YouTube game, I believe, next week. Yeah, it will be Avon Lake at Olmsted Falls. And I hadn't realized that. I know I've only been, you've been at Avon Lake prior to me coming to EOL, but I hadn't realized that's, the one spot in the SWC where you haven't gotten a win. So I'm sure you and your guys will need no extra motivation getting fired up for Friday. So, Coach, as always, we greatly appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us on the road. We do appreciate it. Enjoy your Saturday morning. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk some more here soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
Matt, are you driving a 6-speed or a 5-speed?
Four-cylinder. But yeah, I had to. Well, I would have just stayed and done the interview before I left, but the police were closing down basically the high school. Yeah, so if I didn't get out when I did, I'd be stuck there right now, and I'd miss my kid's game, and my wife wouldn't be happy with me, and so that's why. And I was nervous because I was driving down Lake Road, and there's that point when you get into Bay Village where you lose reception. So I texted you guys and was like, hey, it's going to be dicey here. So, it was a little crazy.
Well, we appreciate it, Matt. Have fun today at your son's game.
All right, we'll do. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach. That's Matt Kostelnik, head coach of the Avon Lake Shoremen.
Let me give you a little promotional idea here. I think you should take little clips from the different coaches that are identifying where they're at, like Chase Ferris sitting in the car waiting to play softball, Matt Kostelnik driving a stick on his way to his son's game, Grizz all grizzed up, and frankly, Brian Morgan's wife not allowing him to show himself visibly today because he wasn't presentable. That'd be a cool little promo for this Saturday sports wrap-up show.
Yeah, you're chock full of ideas. Why don't you come in here a couple times a week and see?
Come on with us where you're at.
There you go.
And maybe that a young coach like, say, Tom Thome. He's got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
He does.
Maybe he was feeding his children this morning and he couldn't join us.
Well, he did just text me.
That would be cool to have him on as he's giving oatmeal or Raisin Bran or something like that out to Trey, his son, who's named after Tom's dad is Tom, then obviously Tom, and then Trey is the third.
Okay.
So,
I gotcha.
Anyways,
look at you,
food for thought.
Chock full of everything over here. Bright idea, Mr. Ron Yance.
I want you to call my wife right now and tell her that I have good ideas.
That's
Stacey Grafe or Stacey Grafe Yance right now and say Ron Yance has good ideas.
No, we can give her a call. We can give her a call after the show. All right. Well, Tom Thome did text me just now, actually, and said he just missed it and that he would still be willing to join us. So I'm going to give him some time options because we do have some guys set to join us in the 10 o'clock hour, but we'll see if we can still effort Tom Thome at some point this morning. If so, he will be joined alongside Mike Elder, Ryan O'Rourke, Mike Rice, and then Chris Drew in this 10 o'clock hour. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have more of the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We're live on WEOL.com, also on that Chronicle Telegram YouTube channel. We'll be back.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down, or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, Cavs radio voice. Recently, we had some trees removed. So again, singing the praises of EcoTree Services. In a few hours, EcoTree had removed the unsightly trees, cleaned the debris, and opened the area for a new fence. I can't say enough good things about the people at EcoTree. I've used them several times, always thrilled with their work. If you have trees that require pruning or need to be removed, contact EcoTree, a local business that deserves your business. They've earned mine. Go to ecotreeservices.com.
Lorain County has a story every day. Make sure you don't miss it. From breaking news and high school sports to schools, business, and community events, the Chronicle has it all. Stay connected to your neighbors and your home team with coverage that matters most to you. Don't just hear about Lorain County, know Lorain County. Subscribe today at chroniclet.com/subscribe and get the news that keeps you in the know. The Chronicle Telegram, Lorain County's largest newspaper.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down. Or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
Back here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show, recapping some Week 6 action here on the final Saturday of September. Man, we kind of joked about that before the show, and that's such a cliche thing to do, right? Is, it's going to be this month soon. Hard to believe. Years flying by, blah, blah, blah. But I think that rings true, man. It is hard to believe next week's October.
My daughter Caroline calls it the stretch of burrs. September, October, November, December. And she loves that time of the year because, September leads into fall leads into Halloween leads into Thanksgiving leads into Christmas. And it's a time of the year that I'm fond of too, for lots of reasons, one of which, the fall colors that are starting to come out. And when we're done with this show at 11 o'clock, Rocco, I love you, but I'm out of here quickly to go to a Metro Park in Lorain County.
Ooh, look at you.
So can some of those fall colors before the Buckeyes kick off at 3 o'clock.
Boy, you've just got it all figured out here on a Saturday morning, don't you? Wow, look at you. Look at you. Yeah, well, I'm right by the Metro Parks over there in Fairview, so I certainly get my fair share of foliage over there. That's our wildlife's out and about. Oh, yeah, it's very special time. And good on you, Ron Jans, for including Thanksgiving in today's day and age of shopping, and everything's about, the gifts and this and that for the Christmas and holiday season. You included maybe the more important holiday out of those, right? Thanksgiving, the day to be thankful for and everything like that. Everybody just kind of glosses over that, right? Halloween hits, November 1st hits. Everybody cranks the Mariah Carey as she escapes from her ice lair and gets ready, in the Santa suit. And
what did they say, Ted Williams? They put Ted Williams in. What was that Frozen State?
Cryogenic. Yeah, right.
Like
you get cryogenically frozen.
Mariah Carey is
every year. Every year you get 1 week of January. A Happy New Year. She's still out and about, right? And then she gets tucked away, locked away until November 1, and that's
maybe
we
could get Mariah Carey on the Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show.
That would. I'm going to
be a big get.
I'll defer to you to see if you have the pull for that one. I know I don't. So, we'll work on that. We'll see what we can do. So Tom Thome from Amherst, he did text me. Hopefully we'll be able to link something in here for the 10 o'clock hour. If not, no big deal. We know he's always willing and able to join us. I see Coach Elder's ready to go here. So why don't we quickly recap the scores from last night, Ron, and then we'll get to Coach Elder here as his guys got a big win over Berea Mid-Park last night. So I'll start things off here with our first set of scores. Amherst, a winner over Olmsted Falls, 20-16, the final there. Avon, as we'll talk about with Coach Elder here in a moment, a winner over Berea Mid-Park, 55-27. The Eagles creating some separation in that second half. Avon Lake blanks the Pioneers of Elyria 42-0 over in the Lorain County League. Columbia stays perfect. They roll past Brookside 48-14. North Ridgeville in our YouTube game of the week knocks off Midview on the road at 28-24. We talked to Coach Morgan about it in that 9 o'clock hour, and it was Firelands squeaking by Clearview 9-7. Coach O'Rourke, will talk about it with him coming up here in about 15 minutes or so.
Other scores, Elyria Catholics won 3 in a row. They beat Akron St. Vincent St. Mary 28-14. Keystone scores 22 unanswered in the second half, and they knock off the Pirates of Black River 22-15. Wellington big over the Oberlin Phoenix. Vermilion, surprise loss for Coach Bill DeFucci as they travel to Norwalk and take on the Truckers. The Truckers with a 14-9 victory. And then Brunswick, the Blue Devils, all over the Titans of Lorraine, 39-18.
All right, there are the scores from Week 6 as those conference races continue to heat up here. As well, Coach Thome now did text me. He could do now, but we got Coach Elder coming on here right now. So why don't we bring him onto the stage here? Avon Eagle head football coach Mike Elder joins us here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Coach, big win for you guys last night over Berea Mid-Park, 55-27. I know this one was tight in the first half as we were following along on social media, and I think your quote in the Chronicle Telegram this morning says it best. When you're playing in the SWC, you've got to play 4 quarters. Really took 4 quarters of football for you guys to pull out that victory last night, didn't it?
Yeah, it certainly did, and that's a credit to Berea Mid-Park. I thought they came. Yeah, are you there? Hello?
Yeah, we got you. Sorry, I think we're having a little bit of a delay, but go ahead with your answer. Sorry, we got you.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a credit to Berea Mid-Park. Their kids came ready to play, and I tell our team in every game, there's a pathway to victory for every squad you play. And certainly Berea had one. And in the first half, they were executing it. We turned the ball over. It was a 14-point swing where we had a chance to go up 28-7. Instead, it's 21-14. We go down and score, make it 28-14. And then with only like 35 seconds left in the half, we give up a kickoff return for a touchdown. So proud of our offense. We went back out there and in 25 seconds got in field goal range, missed a long field goal. But at halftime, it's 28-21 and the game's in question. But second half, I felt like our defense really stiffened up. They got after the quarterback very well, gave us some short fields. We kind of ran the ball and exerted our will in the run game. And then obviously threw a couple over their heads as well. So in all, we had almost 600 yards of offense, which is great. And our defense, I thought, played exceptionally well, shorthanded a few guys, and I'm proud of our team.
Mike Ron Yance, you're going to bust your chops for a moment. You haven't turned your camera on. Is that because you didn't shave this morning? Your wife told you were not presentable, or, why won't you turn your camera on? There he is.
Well, I'm driving, but Rocco, you told me last week sometimes it gets streams better. So if you want to see my beautiful face, I'll let you see it.
Well, I do think normally it does, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that front. I don't know. I'm still learning some of this too. So.
Brian Morgan for Ridgeville was our first guest at 9:00, and he did not turn his camera on. And Brian said it's because his wife told him he was not camera presentable this morning. So, we thought maybe that was the same with you, Coach Elder. But Coach Kostelnik was just talking to us, and he's driving a stick shift right now as he's going. So are you automatic or are you standard transmission right now?
We're standard. I can't do the stick shift. And I'll tell you, I'm never presentable for a camera, but I've gotten over that. So we're good. I don't mind. We've got 2 JV games going on this morning. We have Bedford at our middle school and we have Berea at our stadium. And so I went to see the Bedford first half and then was going to be, at the Berea second half to be at both games, and Bedford got there late. So I jumped in the car while I was talking to you guys to kind of come over and see the first half of Berea, and then I'll go see second half of Bedford.
So, Mike, let's stick with that theme for a moment about the 2 JV games, because it leads into the varsity team. And when you and I talked, as I prepped for that North Ridgeville game a couple of weeks ago, you said, Ron, we're not young, but we're inexperienced. And what you meant by that was you had seniors in starting positions so they're not youthful, they're not sophomores, but they are replacing seniors who were there before them the year before, so they're inexperienced. Now you're in week 7. Nobody's inexperienced anymore. How do you feel about your football team?
I feel good. You're constantly trying to develop depth. You're constantly trying to grow and learn from mistakes you make, and I think we're doing that. We've been hit with an injury bug. We lost Alex Rivera, who is a returning starter from a state championship team at corner for the season. And that's terrible for the young man, but obviously hurts your football team. So guys got to step up. And then against Olmsted Falls in the first half, we lost both of our starting running backs. Now we're hoping to get those guys back, but we'll see how long that will be. And then last night we were out without Lance Dawson, who's committed to play at Cincinnati, and one of our starting linebackers, Vinny DiTilio. So you better have depth because it's a physical game. It's a long season and guys have to step up. And so playing 2 JV games, we tell our guys all the time, you get sometimes, parents or somebody will say, oh, they play politics. Well, in Avon, certainly they know we don't play politics because JV football is important. And we tell people that if you're supposed to be playing on Friday night, you will dominate on Saturday. Like everyone will know you're a varsity player playing JV football. Everyone can see it. Everyone will know it's obvious. And we've had a couple guys do that. And so now they're playing varsity football for us, and that's exciting. And all of our coaches coach JV, and, we have 107 guys on the team, so we could do one team, but we value playing time over winning at the lower levels, and that's including JV.
Well, and Coach, and look, we can wrap on this because I apologize. I double booked. We also have Rob House from Wellington set to join us here at the start of this 10 o'clock hour. So that is on me. And I'm sure we'll be talking again here down the line. But kind of sticking with that theme, Coach, I don't want to say you guys have perfected that, but you guys have really done a great job from the youth level on up. We've talked about this a lot over the years, youth up to freshman JV ball, onto the varsity level. Your guys are pretty much ready to go when you put them out there on a Friday night. You say it all the time. It's not easy to play for the Avon Eagles on a Friday night. And I think that all goes back to the fact that, like you just said, you've got involvement and commitment on the JV level and even down from that that all just goes a long way towards building the overall program, doesn't it?
It does. I'm proud of what we do K through 12 in Avon, and it's been through a lot of hard work. Our success doesn't happen by accident. And I think some people, are probably sick of our success, but we're not. We continue to work really, really, really hard at what we do. And I'm always willing to talk to any coach who has questions. And every time I do, I share everything we do because I enjoy great competition. And I always grab ideas from whoever I'm talking to. So I don't have one original idea as a football coach, not one original idea. All I've done is stole great ideas from other great coaches. And I enjoy conversations about how to make this game great. I'm on the Browns Youth Advisory Council talking about ways that the Browns can help promote the game of football because I just love the game and I love the lessons it teaches. So, we're going to have 2 competitive games today. And again, we're trying to get guys ready to play on Friday nights. And I feel like last night, some guys had to step up, and Mikey Colburn at running back, Adrian Ramirez at running back, a sophomore, really did a great job. But mostly the story last night was the offensive line and the tight ends. I thought they did a tremendous job protecting the quarterback, who threw for over 300 yards. And then obviously we were able to run the ball because of their physicality up front. So that's a recipe for success.
Certainly is on any Friday night. So, Coach, as always, we greatly appreciate the time. Again, apologies. I double booked here in the 10 o'clock hour, so sorry to cut this one short. But again, I'm sure we'll be talking some more here on a Saturday morning down the line. So enjoy the JV action. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll talk here soon.
I appreciate it. I got to say shout out to my brother, Tom. He's listening to you guys from Warren, Ohio. He's a super fan for the Eagles and enjoys what you guys do. So good morning, Tom.
So, Mike, why don't you text me Tom's number? We'll put him on and we'll ask him what he thought of your physical appearance this morning. I think personally you're well lit. The natural light coming in off the window makes you look probably more handsome than you really are. So, so thanks for joining us, Mike.
You're welcome, and you're not getting his number because he will roast me. That's what older brothers do. You guys have a great morning. I love you, TA, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Talk soon, Coach. It's Mike Elder, head coach of the Avon Eagles. Kind of
it is all about the natural lighting.
It is. It is. Well, hey, our next guest, and we'll bring him on because I owe him. I already texted him an apology. I owe him one half in person now over the internet, I guess. I double booked at 10:10. I was looking at my sheet last night as Jared and I were doing our post game festivities, and I had 10:10 set with Rob Howes, and I forgot to write it down, and then I later in the night thought, oh my gosh, I never booked anyone for 10:10. So I texted Coach Elder, and we had the old double booking. So that's a classic mistake on my behalf. Coach Howes, appreciate the patience. Thank you for joining us. How we doing this morning?
Doing great. Yeah, everything feels better after a win, right?
You say that every time here on a Saturday morning, right? I don't, I've gotten into basketball coaching these last couple of years, and you're absolutely right. There's nothing better than the morning after a big win. You guys cruised past Oberlin last night, 48-6, the final score. You get your first conference win of the season. Why don't we start with that, right? Just kind of the feeling, you already said it, right? It feels better on a Saturday morning after a Friday night win, but to get that first conference win, I got to imagine that just sort of rejuvenates, you, your staff, those kids, just kind of brings things, back into a positive swing, I would imagine.
Yeah, and then you're back to work Saturday morning, and it's short-lived because you got to get ready for another big game this week. You got against another tough opponent, but it does feel a lot better. It makes everything kind of worth it a little bit more, and the kids buy in, and they feel good about it. And I don't think anyone but people in this locker room thought we'd have 3 wins this whole season. So to have 3 through the first 6 is a really good feeling.
Coach, why do you say that? Why do you think, what was it about the perspective of your team from the outside? You said obviously inside, you guys felt you had the opportunity to have 3 wins at this point in the season. What was the reason that maybe there was self-doubt that this Duke football team could actually win this fall?
I would say no self-doubt in our locker room. But we had a talented senior class that graduated last year, lost 12 seniors, and a lot of them were 3-year starters. So we had a young, inexperienced team this year taking the field. So we've, through the first 6 games, we've learned a lot, grown, moved guys around, find some different things. And then, unfortunately, I don't have the blessing to have 107 on my roster and 2 JV teams. So, you catch the injury bug a little bit, then you're losing 2 starters, your offensive starter and defensive starter. And it kind of hurts, that got us a little bit here those last couple of weeks. And, so it feels good to kind of get back to it and do that. And, still be playing what I feel is a tough brand of football. I got a lot of kids that fly around and leave it all out on the field.
Who's playing well for you right now? An opportunity to maybe, point out some young men who've worked really hard and heading into week 7 are really, paying dividends.
Yeah, it starts with our all-Ohio linebacker, Trey Moore. He's been playing phenomenal, flying around the field, making tackle after tackle. And then he's had an increased role offensively, played a little QB last week, fullback this week with injuries and things like that. Ari Rayford, leads the area in sacks, has been playing a really nice defensive end. Landon Beal has stepped up big. He's a first-time high school player as a junior, kind of working those halls and trying to get guys out, and he's proven to be special. He's in the film. He's asking the right questions. He's playing a great outside linebacker. Had 3 rushing touchdowns last night. And then Ashton Rossler in the trenches. Again, he's earned everything in the offseason and, has been blocking his tail off and doing everything that he can to help us out as well.
Coach, you guys kickstart last night, literally with an opening return for a touchdown. Those types of tone-setting plays, right? Obviously, the final score plays out as it does, and maybe it ends up that way, even if Connor Kinzer doesn't take that one all the way to the house, right? But to have a play like that on special teams, one of those areas that a lot of casual fans just kind of gloss over, right? Offense, defense, we love that, but special teams kind of one of those forgotten areas. To get a big play on special teams to open up a game like that, that's just got to be the ultimate feel good. Okay, we're here to play tonight. Our guys are ready to go. I imagine that was maybe the thought after watching Connor take that one all the way.
Oh, yeah, and Connor's another kid that's been playing really hard and well for us too, both offensive and defensively, and he's had huge returns all year, so it was nice to see him start the game that way, and, that was kind of the hope, is that we started fast, and we were able to accomplish that. We actually had 2 big special teams touchdowns to kind of bookend that game, because then we had a block return for a touchdown by Ari Rayford to kind of, put it away and have that final score.
Coach, where are you right now? Every coach we've had on, and this is obviously a visual medium this year. It's no longer radio, it's television. So are you, where are you right now?
We just got done with practice and film and running and all the things that we do on a Saturday. So I'm in our locker room.
There it is.
Out, taking the call. I do miss the radio days because just like everybody else, I have a face for radio, not YouTube.
Well, so do we. That's why we got into radio, right? So that's we certainly understand that. We understand that's a nice little look into the Duke's locker room. So that was good stuff. So, Coach, as you get set for a couple of really tough conference games coming up right next week, it'll be at home against Keystone. We know what the Wildcats are all about. You'll be at Firelands the following week as Coach O'Rourke gets set to join us as our next guest here. But
Ryan's listening, by the way. We can see him. He's in the queue, so you don't want to give away any family secrets here.
But I got to imagine just kind of, identity-wise as a football team, as a program, things maybe starting to come together on that front a little bit here for you guys. Shut out last week against Clearview, and now you follow that up with a big-time win over Oberlin.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Again, we got to get healthy and still keep preaching the day one things and get more discipline and play better fundamental football, especially with the schedule we have coming up. Have a lot of respect for all the coaches in our league. They're all really doing great things, including, Oberlin and Clearview and Columbia, every the one that we played. And as you said, it's tough coming up. So that's why, it's back to work today and turning the page to Keystone this week and, taking it a day at a time and continuing to try to get better and develop this young, unexperienced team.
Well, and one thing, especially within conference play, I'll steal the Seinfeld joke here. I mentioned it on our broadcast last night with North Ridgeville and Midview, and it's kind of a cliche, but I think it kind of rules true. There's no really surprising one another within that Lorain County league, is there, Coach? I mean, like I said, it's the Seinfeld joke where it's 2 magicians trying to impress each other. The one pulls a rabbit out of the hat, and the other one goes, yeah, so. And that's sort of what it feels like. It's, there's really not a whole lot of surprising to be done on a Friday night when you get into conference play. It's basically, hey, your guys against mine, and you better win up front, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's where it all starts, is in the trenches. And, there's some really physical teams. This conference is really good small town football, as coaches are tight knit and get along. And, it's a really great atmosphere. I think unlike any other, really, to be honest, there's one night a year that, I really don't like the guy across the sideline. And, that just so happens to be that Friday night. But, it's a great brand of football for schools our size.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Coach, as always, we greatly appreciate the time this morning. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the patience. Again, sorry I double booked here early in the 10 o'clock hour, but we appreciate the time. And here's hoping to some more Saturday morning conversations with you, Coach.
Of course. Thank you guys for everything you do.
Thank you. Enjoy your weekend.
It's Rob Howes, head coach of the Wellington Dukes, kind enough to share some time with us here this morning.
Rolling. You got coaches in the queue.
That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes.
Waiting.
We keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep them waiting for another 30 seconds. I do want to get a quick sponsor timeout because we haven't done that this hour. When we come back, it'll be Coach O'Rourke of the Firelands Falcons. His guys got a 9-7 win over Clearview. We'll talk about it. We'll talk to him about it next after this timeout.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down. Or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, Cavs radio voice. Recently, we had some trees removed. So again, singing the praises of EcoTree Services. In a few hours, EcoTree had removed the unsightly trees, cleaned the debris, and opened the area for a new fence. I can't say enough good things about the people at EcoTree. I've used them several times, always thrilled with their work. If you have trees that require pruning or need to be removed, contact EcoTree, a local business that deserves your business. They've earned mine. Go to ecotreeservices.com.
Rocco Nushi, Ron Jans here with you on a Saturday morning. It's the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Thanks to our sponsors, Nick Abraham, Elyria Ford, Stewart's TV and Appliance, and our friends over at EcoTree Services. Let's bring him on now. Head coach of the Firelands Falcons, Ryan O'Rourke. Coach, good morning. Congratulations on the 9-7 win over Clearview last night. And quickly, before we talk about last night's win, I want to go back to last week as we had talked about you getting inducted into that Avon Athletic Hall of Fame. You enjoyed those festivities, I believe, last Saturday night, right? So just kind of wanted to ask you about that. What was that experience like? Kind of, seeing some old familiar faces and getting the honor that you and that team deserved. How did that go last weekend for you guys?
Yeah, that was really cool to, go back to Avon and, see some of my teammates that I, quite frankly, just haven't seen in a while. It was, I think it was really cool. My son was running around. You could pretty much hear him the entire ceremony with one of my former linemen's kids. So it was just kind of cool to kind of see that, happen. And, it was great to be around all those guys. And that's really what it was all about, is just seeing everybody again and, kind of reminiscing about, that season that we had in 2008.
So let's talk about last night for you guys, a 9-7 win over Clearview. And I guess even just before, again, diving into that individual game, 3 wins in a row now for you guys, right? 0-3, leaving the non-conference play. We had talked about just that tough schedule and some of the struggles that you guys had, but now you look up here after week 6 and you're 3-0 in conference play, undefeated in conference play, right? And still in it for a Lorain, County League title. So, it's kind of like we've talked about. You separate the seasons, the non-conference now into the regular season. And it seems like all your guys' goals are still right there in front of you. I got to imagine that's a good feeling here through 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about, these past couple weeks, obviously getting a win streak is great, but seeing a confidence grow with our kids, both offensively and defensively, and obviously special teams as well. That came up huge last night. So just seeing that confidence grow going into this back half was important if we were going to turn our season around.
Ryan, turnovers last night in the positive end for you guys was the difference maker, you think?
Absolutely. We don't really measure too many stats here at Firelands. Really, the only things that I ever measure are turnover margin and explosive plays. And we won both of those with the turnover margin being, I think, 3-0 in our favor. So that was absolutely huge. That was critical for us to win the game.
Go ahead, Bro.
Well, Coach, just again, kind of reading the recap here quickly. I didn't get a full chance to read all that went down for you guys last night. But freshman kicker Landon Becker, 38-yard field goal ultimately ends up being the difference for you guys. And so just walk me through that, right? I mean, we talk about, you try to college kicker out there and things get a little interesting and exciting, even more so on the high school level, even more so when it's a freshman, but he drills a 31-yarder, or I'm sorry, a 38-yarder, pardon me, a 38-yarder to more or less, win that game for you guys. What does that say about that young man to nail that one home?
Yeah, that was awesome to see. We had a critical 4th down conversion on that drive. I remember by Liam and Gabe. Didn't didn't get a touchdown, obviously, but we were sitting in a position where, in pregame, Landon was hitting from that, pretty consistently that distance. So kind of had to think back to, when we went for it on 4th down against Clearview 2 years ago in the same situation and didn't convert. So we thought to give him a chance. We actually had our PAT blocked on our touchdown. So it was a little nerve-wracking saying to go out there and get a field goal, but we knew the kid had the leg, and Landon's done a tremendous job for us since he joined us.
Ryan, in a 2-point game, you guys get the ball with a little over 4 minutes left. And, obviously the goal is to run out the clock if you can. That's easy to say, hard to do, but your team was able to do that last night, to take the final 4-13 and just say, we're not going to allow you to get the football back. Who played a part in that? Was it, offensive line, combination? How did that happen?
Yeah, that, we just talked about it in film a couple of minutes ago that, to run a 4-minute offense and to end the game with the ball in your hands is very difficult to do. And it's a very special thing when you're able to do it. So, we converted a 4th and 2. It was really nice getting Aiden Fortner back this week. We ran behind him and Brett, our other tight end. I think Liam we ran Liam about 16 times last night at the quarterback position for only like 30 yards. He just was getting tough yards on those small conversions. And then Andrew Pollock kind of sealed it with a jet sweep around the edge to convert another 1st down. So we had to convert 2 first downs in that 4-minute situation, which is hard to do. And really happy to see the team win a couple different ways so far this season.
Ryan, where are you right now? We've been asking all coaches that have been a part of our show, and we've had some interesting scenarios so far this morning. Matt Costello from Avon Lake was driving a stick shift as he was talking to us. Brian Morgan's wife would not allow him to turn his camera on this morning because she said he was not presentable. So where's Coach O'Rourke right now?
I'm just in our middle school teacher's lounge. Nothing crazy. Just outside of our weight room, so nothing crazy.
Okay. There you go. Good deal. Do want to ask you about an individual, Brett Bury, because I only saw you guys once. It was that Vermilion game, and I know things just, did not go your guys' way that night against the Sailors. But Bury was one individual who stood out to me. I think I had asked you about him in our pregame interview before that one. Feels like I'm reading about him each and every week since then, right? What kind of efforts are you seeing this season from that young man?
Yeah, Brett hasn't left the field. He's been that two-way player at tight end and outside linebacker. He's doing a tremendous job, obviously. He's such a weapon offensively. He's such an anchor on the strong side of our defense defensively. To be only a sophomore doing those things is pretty special and very excited. And he even played some tailback last night. We had another tailback go down, so we had a receiver and a tight end play it the rest of the game. So he's doing really good things, and to pair him up with Aiden coming back, very excited to see what we can do with both those guys on the field for the rest of this.
So, Coach, with just 4 weeks left to go, 3 of those 4 are at home, and as we kind of opened this interview up with, you guys are 3-0 in conference play. I got to imagine you, your staff, your kids, Coach, are really fired up to getting these last 4 weeks underway with the chance to, again, compete for a conference title, get yourself into the postseason. As you said, you've been battling injuries all season long. You've been battling adversity. But, again, you look up and you've got a really nice opportunity in front of you guys. Do the kids feel it? I'm sure you guys feel it as a staff, but I got to imagine the kids are just kind of electrified to get these last 4 weeks going.
Yeah, it really is all about the kids' confidence, and again, to get this winning streak going was important. And yeah, it's exciting. They have, it's homecoming week. We know Black River is a tremendous challenge. I think they have, really good athletes. Offensively, they're always going to be really well coached defensively. So, we know we have a tremendous challenge this week. And that's exciting. 3 of the last 4 at home. But we know that those are 4 really good opponents. So we just have to, each take it week by week and, make sure whatever needs to get done that week as far as because all 4 of these teams present, in my opinion, unique challenges as far as who their best players are, what kind of schemes they run. So it'll be 4 challenging weeks, but I think our kids are excited to embrace that.
All right. Well, we're certainly looking forward to seeing how that plays out for you, Coach, over these final 4 weeks. So congratulations on the win last night. A heck of a start to conference play for you guys. You got it rolling right now. So congrats again on the win. Thanks for joining us here this morning, and I'm sure we'll be catching up again here soon. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks for having me.
You got us. Coach Ryan O'Rourke of the Firelands Falcons, kind enough to share some time with us here this morning. We talked about it with Kostelnik over at Avon Lake, right? The gauntlet that they had in their non-conference schedule. Firelands, it's, kind of the same deal each and every year, right? They take on Bay, Edison. I forget who their third non-conference opponent was, but I mean, just 3 really darn good football teams. And, it's kind of cliche. We ask them about it every year. Oh, how does that get you ready for conference play? Get you battle tested, this, that, or the other. But that clearly reigns true, right? I mean, they're 3-0 now.
I think one of the blessings of the playoff expansion, it went from 16. That wasn't necessarily a blessing. Now it's back to 12. But I think, and it's still an opportunity. One of the opportunities or blessings or results of the expansion is teams can play a non-conference schedule,
sure,
and expect to maybe lose 2, even sometimes 3 games, knowing that they still have an opportunity to have that goal that you've mentioned many times, still in front of them, which one of those goals would be to make the state playoffs. And, so teams can schedule better. They can schedule tougher without fear of, hey, we can't afford to lose a game.
Right.
We can't afford to lose 2 games. Lord knows we can't afford to lose 3. That's not necessarily the truth anymore. So you can be an 0-3 team, finish 6-4, 7-3, still make the playoffs and feel really good about that strength of schedule and how it has prepared you for week 11.
Sure. I mean, it's kind of like we've talked about the Guardians for the past month, right? Just get in and anything can happen, right? That's the beauty of the postseason with any sport at any level. And I think that's certainly the case for high school football and certainly the case for a team, like a Firelands, like an Avon Lake, where, the non-conference.
Elyria
Catholic, right?
There are a few examples.
Yeah, the non-conference doesn't go your way. So what? It's not a big deal anymore as it was, even 10, 15 years ago, like you said, Ron. So, no, that's well put. And we got some teams certainly rolling across Lorain County right now. Speaking of rolling, Columbia, they stay perfect right now. Last undefeated team within Lorain County. Mike Rice slated to join us here in a couple of moments. So why don't we sneak in a quick timeout? And hopefully when we return, we'll be joined by head coach of the Columbia Raiders, Mike Rice. Still got Chris Drew set to join us here in the 10 o'clock hour. And then Tom Thome, we'll circle back around to Coach Thome at about 10:50-ish to round out the show here this morning. Again, Rakanushi Ranyans here with you live at the Chronicle Telegram. It is the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We'll be right back after this timeout.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down, or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cavs. For several years, you've heard me talk about EcoTree Services on WEOL. Recently, I needed trees removed, so of course, I contacted EcoTree. They did an incredible job. The folks at EcoTree were timely, efficient, and the work was flawless. Take it from me. When your trees need attention or even require removal, contact EcoTree Services. Like me, you'll love their work. Find EcoTree Services online at ecotreeservices.com.
Lorain County has a story every day. Make sure you don't miss it. From breaking news in high school sports to schools, business, and community events, the Chronicle has it all. Stay connected to your neighbors and your home team with coverage that matters most to you. Don't just hear about Lorain County, know Lorain County. Subscribe today at chroniclet.com/subscribe and get the news that keeps you in the know. The Chronicle Telegram, Lorain County's largest newspaper.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down, or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
It is the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. You just heard from all three of our sponsors there, Nick Abraham, Elyria Ford, Stewart's TV, and Appliance, 468 Cleveland Street here in Elyria, and also our friends over at Eco Tree Services, your complete tree care company. Again, Ron Canucci, Ron Jans here with you. Big thanks to all of the head coaches who have joined us thus far. I had my first double booking of this new look Saturday Wrap-Up Show, so I appreciate Coach Elder and Coach Howell's respective patience there to kick off this 10 o'clock hour. I was hoping to be joined by Columbia Raider head football coach Mike Rice here at 10:30, but that's okay. I think if he got caught up with some things this morning. We've talked to him quite a bit this season as his Raiders stay perfect with a win last night over Brookside, 48-14. On the other side of that coin, the Cards and Coach Scott O'Donnell still looking for their first win of 2025, as it's been tough sledding for them thus far. But man, that Columbia program, Jason Ward steps down, hands the keys to the car there to former defensive coordinator, now head coach Mike Rice, and they don't skip a beat, man. I mean, they just keep it rolling over there in Raiderland.
And Mike was obviously Jason's pick, Jason,
Sure.
Athletic director. So that's obvious. But as a football coach, as a guy who put his heart and soul into building that Columbia program, Jay Ward wasn't going to hand that off to just anybody.
No.
So, and it's interesting, Mike Rice being a defensive coordinator, he runs the triple option offense for Columbia right now. And if you talk to any defensive coordinator anywhere, they'll tell you that the toughest thing to prepare for is a triple option offense for a couple of reasons. One, maybe first and foremost, is most teams don't see it. So it's not a regular part of your routine.
It's hard to
preparing
replicate.
week in, week out. And it is hard to replicate with like a scout team.
Sure.
So I'm certain that, one of the reasons that Mike likes that triple option offense is because he knows how hard it is to prepare to defend as a defensive coordinator. Carlos Rivera, who's the OC at Olmsted Falls, when him and Tom DeLuca got together at Olmsted Falls 13 years ago, Rivera liked the triple option. DeLuca was a defensive guy, and Rivera kept presenting problems for DeLuca, tests. And Tom finally said, I couldn't stop it. I couldn't game plan against it, or I struggled to. So I said, why don't I adopt this? And the rest is history at Olmsted Falls. The Bulldogs have run that better than anybody. But Mike Rice and Columbia right now, they are really running that well offensively, and they are steamrolling people.
Yeah, I mean, you put up 48 points last night. I don't care who you're playing. That's an impressive number, and no doubt about that. So not sure if we'll be joined by Coach Rice, but that is A-OK, because I see our 1040 guest has made his way into the queue, so we'll bring him on stage real quick. It's Chris Drew, KD, as he has on the moniker for this morning. And Chris, first and foremost, good morning, my friend. Awesome to have you here on the show once again. Ron and I, we've been kind of joking with some of our coaches that have been out and about here on a Saturday morning doing, JV duty or taking in some youth soccer games or whatever it is that they're out and about doing. You, my friend, are normally taking in some Little League action here on a Saturday morning. And here you are in the home studio, the home office. What's up, man? Where's little bro at this morning? No action for him or what?
Fall ball's concluded. We went 2 for 5 last week, and we're hanging it up for the fall season. So
all right. Is he on to hoops or what's next for the young man?
Yeah, I think basketball is probably next. I don't know. Kind of have to get with him and see. I'm definitely well behind and very unorganized with the whole thing. But he has been outside in the back on the hoop a little bit extra.
All right.
We also have a little bit of a theater thing going on too. So I don't know what exactly is going on with him.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
the youngster, a man of many interests, I suppose. So good stuff. Well, Chris, let's talk some Buckeyes, I guess, first and foremost. We'll probably talk some baseball here with you as well before we let you go, as this postseason race really heats up here with the final 2 days of the regular season today and then tomorrow. But Buckeyes, West Coast, 3:30 kick against Washington. One on paper, I think people look at this and say, okay, Buckeyes, long road trip. Washington, they're real good at home. Still, Ohio State should be able to take care of business. Where would the concerns, I guess, be for Ohio State fans this afternoon, Chris?
I mean, if you're going to talk concerns, Rocco, obviously you start with the fact that like mobile quarterbacks kind of in the history of Ryan Day's tenure and Urban Meyer's tenure have kind of plagued Ohio State in terms of, being able to create extra plays with their extra yards with their legs, as well as like some of the downfield stuff after scrambling a little bit. So Damon Williams Jr. is the quarterback of Washington, super mobile. He's probably like a 4.5 kid. And a kid who has been really productive so far this year. Already has 200 rushing yards, to pair up with 800 passing yards. So he's been really good. And then Denzel Boston, 6'4" junior receiver. He's popping up for me right around like round 2 or 3 in terms of NFL talent. Big body receiver that draws a lot of PI calls. So we're talking about kind of an offense that could get it going with a couple explosive plays. But my big concern is going to be the noise. I don't know if you guys know this, but Washington held the record for loudest stadium in all of college football up until 2023 when Tennessee broke it against Georgia. So the decibels over there get above 128, which is the level of pain out there. So level of pain anywhere. And they have the 2 metal sheets that cover about 70% of the crowd. So the way it works is sound goes up and then bounces directly to the field before escaping. So none of the sound leaves without hitting the field. So Ohio State will be going to a silent count for most of the afternoon. And we'll see how soon the crowd gets taken out of it. It's just a really loud environment for a first-time road quarterback to kind of get his first shot in.
So, Katie, that leads me into the question that I wanted to talk to you about is Justin Sane at quarterback. We've seen him 3 times, and obviously, in the friendly confines of Ohio Stadium, although, that first game against Texas and that Texas defense. Why is Sane ready, if you think he's ready, for that environment this afternoon?
Well, I think 2 things. I think having the bye week really helps my confidence a little bit because they've had 2 weeks to really work on the silent cadence. But the thing about Julian Sane all year, he hasn't really been sped up at all. It's like watching smooth jazz. It's always going to be his rhythm, his pacing, and even against Texas when they brought 5-6 man blitzes, when they brought simulated pressures, he always kind of showed the ability to not speed up and keep his heart rate down. So I think he's ready. Now, there's no way for me to know if he's ready until we get out there. The one thing I am concerned about is if it is loud, we're doing helmet comms this year and not the signals on the sideline. In previous years at Ohio State, didn't have to worry about having to hear anything in the headset. It was just look over to the sideline, you see a polar bear, you see a teddy bear, and you see, 2 people sword fighting, and it's like, okay, I know what play this is going to be. I am curious to see Billy Fessler is going to be in the headset today. That is the coach that was formerly the OC at Akron. He's going to be the one talking directly to Julian Sane. But I think he's ready. He's shown nothing, at least for me, to suggest that he isn't ready.
Will today be an identification day for the running back room for Ohio State? Do you think you will see a Bo Jackson or somebody, kind of break through and become maybe the guy in the rotation that seems to get the most reps? Is today the first ID of that?
I believe so. A couple things here. I felt like in 2021, Ryan Day knew who the most talented running back in the room was, but didn't show us that he was going to get the lion's share of the carries until we were down in the second half against Oregon, and you only saw Travion Henderson out there. This game, I think, could be similar for Bo Jackson. I think we all know Bo Jackson is the most talented running back in that room, and it's just going to be about getting the lion's share of the carries. Concern, though, he's got a sleeve on his leg, on his knee, and he's been walking gingerly, and that is of Thursday. So I don't know exactly how healthy he is and kind of what kind of injury that could be, if it's anything. But I do know that is the case with him. So I'm curious if that will lead them to maybe not lean on him a little bit, because he is a little nicked up, at least if you think that the walking gingerly in the sleeve could suggest that, which I do. So I don't know if we'll see him on the availability report or not, but I do know that is a thing that is definitely being monitored right now.
Chris, just generally speaking, across the college football landscape, obviously we know you follow the Buckeyes first and foremost, but even outside of that, my man, just a huge Saturday again across the entire college football landscape. I don't want to say seasons are going to be make or break this afternoon necessarily, but maybe so. I don't know. What are some of the marquee matchups that you're going to have your eyes on here today, Chris?
I mean, huge playoff implications. The game of the day is going to be Medina's very own Drew Aller taking on Oregon, and that game is at Penn State, and that is the whiteout game this evening. I'm picking Penn State in that game. I know most people are picking Oregon in that game. Obviously, Dan Lanning's offense has been really explosive, but I think honestly, I think the Penn State run game is going to be too much for Oregon. But that's a huge, huge game. That's going to be really a Big Ten playoff decider. I think the winner of that game will play in the Big Ten title game, hopefully against Ohio State. So that's a huge game. Obviously, Kirby Smart is taking on Bama today, and that's going to be kind of, can Kirby Smart deal with the Bama problem he has. Last year, he lost to Bama again. So it went from a Nick Saban problem to a Bama problem. So those are the two games I'm really keeping an eye out for. The Ole Miss LSU game is a game that's interesting just because, like, Ole Miss is a playoff dark horse. And then, other than that, Illinois USC is the funny game. So here we go, guys. USC last week, their kick was at 11 o'clock p.m.
Saw that.
Latest kick in the country. Today, they're in Champaign, and that game is going to kick off at 12 Eastern. So about 9 or 10 West Coast time. So they went from the latest kick to the earliest kick in the country, and an Illinois team that is ranked after getting beat by 50 last week. So those are the games I'm really keeping an eye out for. Obviously, with the Big Ten being kind of what I try to lock in on, it'll be, Penn State, Oregon, and then Illinois USC is the two that are the draws outside of the Ohio State-Washington game.
Two things, Katie. You mentioned the 11 p.m. and now the 12 noon. That's the new reality of the new Big Ten when you've got those West Coast teams playing, Midwestern and Eastern Coastal teams, the traditional Big Ten. And it is interesting from a coach's perspective how they handle that and how they prepare for that. The second thing is, Indiana as good as last week's beatdown of the Fighting Illini?
I think Indiana's really good. And when I do my fraud watch check, when I try to cipher through the overrated teams, one of the first things I go to is, well, how good is your quarterback actually? I think Mendoza's a first-round player. I was high on him last year. I thought that it was wild for Cignetti to even kind of cross that, to try to go head-to-head with Georgia for the Mendoza kid, even though his brother was at Indiana. And that's who they beat for that kid when he left Cal. Now, he threw for 3,000 yards last year at Cal with no offensive line. And now he's got a sense of offensive structure, and I know Mike Shanahan loves him. Their quarterback's real, and they've got two guys on the outside, receiver-wise, that I believe will be draftable. So they are what USC was supposed to be a year ago. That's how good I think they are, and they play good defense. And Cignetti does the thing where he will run up the score against the bad teams and then play not to get blown out against the really good teams. But this team is different because they have a true difference maker, NFL-style difference maker in the throw game. So they're really good. Probably not good enough to continue beating top 10 teams by 50. But for me, in my Chris Drew power ratings, I have them as the 8th best team in the country.
All right, good deal, good deal. Well, Chris, a quick 30-second take because we got Coach Thome from Amherst set to join us here in a moment. But 30-second take: how do the Guardians not blow it today and tomorrow? How do they avoid a 4-game losing streak to end this regular season and avoid missing out on the postseason after all they've done to get back into the race? How do they pull out a win either today or tomorrow?
They need starter length from their starter, and they need to work really good at bats and stop having quick outs. When you get to other teams' bullpens or a little bit earlier, they've been better. And additionally, when the Guardians score in innings 1 through 3, their win percentage is up in in the top 10 of the league. So score early and honestly draw up pitch counts. That's what I got for the whole Guards thing.
There you go. Simple as that. Chris Drew, one of the hardest working men in college football. Find him on Google. That's Chris with a K, Chris Drew. As always, we appreciate the time, my friend. Have a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy the college football today, and we'll catch up soon.
Appreciate you, Rock.
There he is, Chris Drew. Again, he co-hosts the Menace to Sports podcast with former Ohio State assistant coach Zach Smith. You can find him across a bunch of different YouTube outlets as well. Always enjoy talking with Chris Drew. So one final guest to get to here this morning. We'll throw him on the screen now. That's Coach Tom Thome from the Amherst Comets. Last but certainly not least here this morning, Coach. I know Ron was certainly looking forward to asking you some questions here this morning. I am too, because I wasn't on hand last night for that Comet victory. But you guys, I think, stunned some folks across Lorain County with the 20-16 win over the Bulldogs last night. So before I turn things over to Ron a little bit here, because again, I know he's got some questions for you, but man, I got to imagine that's a good feeling sitting here on a Saturday morning, knowing your guys, you took on an Olmsted Falls team that, they get talked about a lot here in Lorain County, and you guys got a big win over them last night. How did that go down?
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me on. Sorry I missed my time slot. But no, I mean, I'm just so proud of our guys. We had a couple games that maybe didn't go our way, and the kids decided, just let's go to work, let's keep grinding, let's stay positive. We knew if we kind of just played together, good things can happen. Extremely proud of my coaching staff, the plans they put out there, and I mean, yeah, it's a great feeling. I don't think we've beaten Falls since 2014, so really good feeling for the guys. And we got back to work today. Good lift, good film session. We do got homecoming tonight, so I told them to enjoy themselves. Don't be stupid. But I had the dad conversation with him. But no, I'm just so proud of him. You know, we know with high school kids, you know, it can go either way, and I'm just so proud with how, you know, a lot of them accepted responsibility and accountability for the last couple of weeks, coaches included. You know, I told the kids, you know, I've done the same kickoff return for, I want to say 15 years. I went to a coach this week and I said, hey, man, I need you to take over this. I need you to do something new because it's not working and I'm not getting the job done. So we put in that wedge return last night and we had 3 good kickoff returns that I was proud of.
Tom, I'm looking at my chart that I use when I call the game, and it's a collection of lots of things and conversations with coaches and research leading up to the week. And I'm looking at a quote that I had written down that you had told me while you and I talked on the phone, and then you repeated to me on the field at the 50-yard line before the game. Your offensive philosophy, you said, and I have you quoted here, we'll do whatever the defense gives up. And I want to add to that, when you and I were talking pregame with Tom Evans, you said, I'll quote you. You said, Ron, listen, I'm not a genius, and I'm not even sure if I'm smart. You said, but what I do is I'll look at what the defense, what I think are attack points in the defense as we approach the line of scrimmage, and I'll call plays based on that. And I noticed in the game, now Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but I noticed in the game that you took the play clock almost every time down inside 10 seconds because you were 3 yards out off the sideline looking at Cy Christensen as the defense was aligning and calling plays in the moment. Were you not? Was I imagining that, or is that what exactly was happening last night?
Well, you know, when I say I'm not very bright, I listen to all the really tough guys on the keyboard when I look at their social media. But no, here's what we do offensively. Joe DeAndrea is in the box, and Joe and we analyze what the defense is giving us, what the coverage is, and it's a really good rapport between Joe and I and what we see. It's a really good Friday night when Joe and I are calling the same exact plays at the same exact time based off of what our preparation and our film work is. So, like, I credit most of this all to Coach D. And actually, what's interesting, the last time we won was Coach DeAndrea's junior year here. So it's a really good feeling for him, and he's at the JV game right now. But no, I mean, we're not trying to outsmart you. We're not trying to outthink you. And we're just trying to put our kids in the best possibility for them to be successful on that play. And, you know, we just look at what the defense gives us and we give out I scream out the play every single time in our number system. And the kids, they executed really well last night.
Rocco, do I have time for 2 more questions?
Yeah, absolutely you do.
So let's go to your defense, Tom, because last night, I mean, you're facing the triple option, you know, and you're facing Carlos Rivera, who's running it for Tom DeLuca. And, you know, you and Carlos, if I could just tell the listening audience, you have a relationship that dates way back to the college days at Ohio Wesleyan when you were a cornerback and Carlos was a coach. And it goes back so far that Tom Thome actually held Carlos's newborn son in his hand 18 years ago. Well, that boy is now 6 foot, 230 pounds. And he's an offensive lineman for Olmsted Falls. So you're taking on a friend who runs the triple option very well. And, you know, it's so hard to prepare for because you only prepare for it, you know, one time during a, 10-game regular season. Why were you so effective last night? Because you really were. I would say one drive they got into a rhythm. And that was that drive in the first half that led to a touchdown. But other than that, they never seemed to be able to get into a rhythm offensively.
You know, I think it's a couple things. We've played each other so much that we're so familiar with each other. And maybe Los and I were trying to outsmart each other the way we called our plays a little bit last night. And I'm sure there's a couple him and I wish we had back. But I actually take it back to Wednesday. Wednesday we had a torrential downpour. And, you know, we weren't on the turf. So my quarterback club, they rented out Lost Nation in Lorain for us so that we could have a 2-hour practice. And guys, we had an energy in that practice. We had an excitement that, you know, after we were done as a coaching staff, you know, we had a great practice that, like, if we weren't able to go inside and I thought the guys just were believing and I was so proud of them. The plan that Coach Passarello and the defensive staff put together. And if you watch the film, there was never just like one guy making the tackle. It was just a wave of Comets flying to the ball. And 26 is a tremendous sniffer back, and he had a great day. But we didn't want to give up the home run. That screen on the last drive, I think, was maybe their biggest hit all night. But our kids just accepted the challenge, and we didn't make a lot of mistakes. I was extremely proud of their effort.
Tom, we just got a couple minutes left, but we got to get to Mike Rice from Columbia. So real quick, has your heart recovered from Olmsted Falls' final drive, where literally that game, it's one of the most exciting calls I think I've ever been able to call, went down to the final play that ended on the 1.5 yard line. Has your heart, has it in a regular beat this morning?
No. Like, if I can just be brutally honest, guys, I'm no.
Yeah. They go
so
76 yards without a timeout in less than 2 minutes and have a pitch play to their H-back who's in motion, Conley, at the 5, and he gets down to the 1.5 yard line. It was a remarkable drive. Let's give them credit, and then give your defense credit that you were able to, make the play when you needed to make it.
Yeah, I would love to be calm, cool, and collective right now. I'm like, oh, never a doubt. No, oh my gosh. It was such a tremendous finish. I'm so proud of the guys. So happy for the community. And I told the kids afterwards, I love them, and let's just keep rolling.
There you go. No caffeine or coffee needed this morning for you, huh?
No. Maybe I'll get some sleep tonight.
There you go.
Thank you, Tom.
Good deal. Coach, as always, appreciate the time, and I'm sure
Thank
we'll be
you
catching
guys
up
so
on
much.
another Saturday. You got it. That's Tom Thome, head coach of the Amherst Comets, kind enough to share some time with us here this morning. And Ron, I'll tell you.
Well, the next guy doesn't have to worry about anything because he's winning by 4 touchdowns in every game. So he doesn't have to check his heart rate or beat. He's steady all the time, because when you're up, 3-4 touchdowns. Let's bring Mike Rice in right now.
There he is, and that's
he's shaking his head no.
Well, this is the beauty of the non-radio, like you said, Ron. I know some of our coaches and you. I mean, we all miss the radio, but we don't have to stop at 11. We can go to whenever we need to go to, and that means we're getting Mike Rice on here on this Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap Up Show. Mike, thanks for joining us this morning, or Coach, I should say. We greatly appreciate the time. 48-14. You guys winners over Brookside last night. You stay perfect overall, still perfect within the Lorain County League. And 48 points, I mean, offensively, I don't care who, you're playing against defensively. You put up 48 points. That's a pretty darn good night offensively. What was working for you guys on that side of the ball?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry about the mix-up earlier, and I wish it was that easy, Ron. But you're even last night, you're always worried about certain situations, and even when you're up, I'm thinking about all that can go wrong. But last night, yeah, offensively, we were able to really run the ball efficiently. Xavier Hendon, I think he had pretty close to 200 yards, and really up front, our offensive line's just been growing every week and getting better and better. And I can't say enough about what Coach Stafford's done with those guys up front, and credit goes to them.
Mike, earlier in today's show, I was talking about your acceptance or you wanting to take on that triple option and run that at Columbia. And maybe it was born in your days as a defensive coordinator, knowing what was hard to prepare for, but it certainly is really starting to, just become breathing like for you and your program and your line, because there's so much involved as an offensive lineman with a triple option. And then, the quarterback's a key player. Has the program started to settle into that? It's an obvious question given the fact that you're winning so well, but tell us about it.
Yeah, they are. And there's also, I say it all the time, there's also a level of selflessness that has to be involved, because you don't feature one kid all the time. And our kids have really bought into that mentality. And, it really stemmed. I go all the way back to my days with Dave McFarland and at Elyria Catholic, and we were running a little bit of it there, and then and I I was able to be a part of it offensively. And then, yes, you're absolutely right that defensively, I hated trying to stop it. You know, I coached at Berea, and we had to play Olmsted Falls, and it was not fun. I heard you just talking about Coach Rivera, and but yeah, our kids are really buying into it. You know, that it was so much easier this year getting started than it was last year when you're starting from scratch and trying to break old habits, because it is a different style of offense.
Coach, you talked about the selflessness that goes into that, but I would think there's a lot of patience involved with that as well, right? Because sometimes, with that type of offense, there's not always that same kind of instant gratitude that you might get. And I'm sure there were some growing pains that you guys went through implementing that. I'm sure there's still some things as you break it all down on film each and every Saturday morning and Friday night, right? You see some things where it's like, oh, okay, that could be cleaned up, that could be better or whatever. Patience and discipline seems like that goes a long way. And we know that to be pretty big staples of that Columbia football program.
Absolutely. And we as coaches have to have that as well. And I learned something a long time ago, like, as a play caller, you make mistakes, and you don't yell at yourself all the time for that. And when you're running a triple option and you're giving your quarterback options, he's going to make some mistakes sometimes. And we have to be able to live with that and be disciplined in not compounding those mistakes, and then coaching kids up. And our kids, that is a huge factor of what you're saying. They have to be okay with 4 yards and living with that and being patient and taking advantage when the big play opportunities arise.
Mike, we've spent time talking about that offense, and rightfully so, because it deserves the attention. But, let's flip it over. There are 3 sides to a football team: offense, defense, and special teams. Let's talk about the defense for Columbia at this point, heading into week 7. And who are some players that, that you have really felt have stood out, took leadership, and are a big part of why you've been so successful on that side of the football?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad you brought that up, because the way our defense is playing, they deserve all the attention. I mean, it's truly unbelievable how well they're playing right now, and we need to, we know we got to keep that going. And I'd love to be able to pinpoint one guy, but it truly is a team unit. If I could point out some guys that I think are getting the stats in that, Ambrose Beach and Jose Rivera are linebackers that are doing a great job for us. Wesley Sanders is another guy. And I thought last night, AJ Lamb, our nose tackle, had just a great game up front, was dominating and is really working at what he does up there and getting better and better each and every week. And our back end's been awesome too. I mean, we've had some huge interceptions in big moments. Carter Dooley last week was unbelievable. 2 interceptions to seal the game. So those are a few guys that are really standing out.
Mike, when you mention linebackers and D-backs making plays, that says something about the down linemen, doesn't it? That the down linemen are taking care of business on that line, allowing those linebackers to come in and make tackles, or the safeties to come up and make tackles. So, the guys who don't get the credit for a tackle or an interception or something like that are really the guys that are allowing that to happen, aren't they?
Absolutely. And it's they may not get all the stats, but they lead the way, and that's something we believe in. And Alex Andrews is another guy that's been doing a great job. Ryan Smith, these guys up front are holding gaps. They're making things hard, making it hard to run the ball. And when you can make it hard to run the ball, then things open up defensively for you.
Last one here for you, Coach, before we let you go. Not to get too big picture here, because we know how you guys operate as a head coach. It's very much week by week, and I know the attention certainly will be on Oberlin and only Oberlin this week for you guys. But I'm sure those kids that they look up, they realize through 6 weeks they're 6-0, right? There's nothing in that loss column. Is that something that I don't want to say you worry about the guys thinking about it, but I'm sure there's emotions that go into that, right? When you got the perfect season going, you haven't lost yet. What's kind of the feeling with that, or is there any feeling? Does that add any extra pressure to the guys? Does it not? How does this specific Columbia group sort of operate right now, given the fact that, again, you don't have a blemish in that loss column?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be lying if you didn't say people talk about it or people bring it up to you or anything like that. And, but it's not something we as a staff or, when we meet, we're not really talking about that. So it never really becomes a focus of what we talk about. It's always, one of our main goals as a program is to be playing our best football at the end of a season, is if we can grow every week. So we really try and focus on that regardless of who we're playing. We just want to have a great week of practice so that we're better at the end of the year, and then the next week it's have a great week of practice so we're better than we were that week before. And I think when we're talking about those kinds of things and when we're really focused on that, it doesn't really get brought up in team meetings or within our program. But yeah, I mean, everybody knows it and everybody is aware of it. And we know we have a lot of work to do to keep it that way.
Mike, before we let you go, two things. One, because this is a visual medium this year, it's no longer radio where they just hear you, they don't see you. The situations that the coaches have been in this morning are kind of interesting, I think. Where are you right now?
Well, I'm at the JV game at our place. So I'm kind of behind a bathroom building.
The lighting on you is fantastic. As a guy who notices stuff like that, it's great. And then the second thing, I'm doing a game later in the year. I think it's week 8 with you guys, but it's not at Columbia. It's on the road. Mm-hmm. It's Columbia Keystone.
Keystone, yeah.
So
correct.
My request, Mike,
okay,
is that you get a hold of Lisa Ward.
I knew that was coming.
and see if maybe there can be a care package presented, waiting for me at Keystone from Lisa, the cookies. So, just throwing that out there. I know that you don't have much to think about because, you're just.
I'll get right on it.
Yeah, so maybe you can talk to her about that.
Anything for you, Ron. Anything.
Oh, don't give him that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Coach. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the weekend. We'll talk.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
See you later.
You got it. It's Mike Rice, head coach of the Columbia Raid. I mean, you're right, man. I mean, you've brought those in on a Saturday morning before. That's my request to you. Okay, you can ask away.
I got to bring him in, and I do.
You got to bring him in. You got to bring him in. Fair is fair.
Those fantastic Lisa Ward cookies.
You're darn right, I have, and
they go great with a morning cup of coffee.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. So hey, that'll do it for us.
Molasses.
Yeah,
really good,
man. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. I haven't eaten yet today, Ron. I'm hungry.
It's out of the routine. It's not chocolate chip. It's not sugar. It's not oatmeal. It's molasses.
It's perfect. That's what it is, my friend. It's a darn perfect cookie. All right, so that'll do it for us this morning. Hey, a huge thanks to all the head coaches and Chris Drew, our special guest who joined us to talk some Buckeye football, and a quick Guardians take from him at the tail end of things. Again, action today to look out for across the Ohio sports landscape. Ohio State at Washington, a little college football action for you guys. 3:30 later this afternoon, and the Guards, man, got to get a win tonight, taking on the Rangers of Texas. 7:15. We win. Detroit loses. Central's ours. So definitely some ways you can get that postseason clinching spot here tonight for the Guardian. So for all the head coaches who joined us, for our sponsors, Nick Abraham, Elyria Ford, Stewart's TV and Appliance, and Eco Tree Services, for Ron Yantz, I'm Rocco Nucci saying thank you for watching another episode of the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. We'll see you guys next Friday night for more high school football.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down, or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.